Blog Talk Radio.
Chocolate Thunder.
Goodridge.
Chocolate Thunder.
I'm a business, you know I'm out to get it. Stay on my grizzly, killing competition. Killing competition. I want it all on focus. Let's go and get it. Go and get it.
All right, guys, welcome to Pro MMA Insider Radio. I am Alex Iserman, and joined as always by Frank Stea. Tonight we have Tim Cudgess joining us, and in just a little while we have Walt Harris and Carla J joining us as well. Huge show tonight. We're going to start it off the first half hour. We have the CFFC press conference, so those guys will be joining us here in a couple of minutes to promote their show coming up this weekend. And then following that, we're going to have an hour of some incredible lady fighters from Invicta FC. We've got the champion Jessica Penne is going to join us, Kat Zingano. We got Julia Budd coming on, Shayna Baszler, Tecia Torres, Stephanie Frausto. All those guys going to be joining us, as well as we're going to have a special co-host. The fighter that joined us last week, Nicdali Rivera-Calanoc, is going to be co-hosting that portion with us. And then we're going to close the show, mixed martial arts, UFC legend, wrestling legend, a guy really needs no introduction, but we gave him one anyway. Ken Shamrock will be joining us. So it's all coming tonight, so we got an action-packed show. Frank, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great. Definitely looking forward to this show tonight, as well as, it's going to be Fight City. I mean, in the entire nation, there's so many fights, whether you're a fan of mixed martial arts, boxing, Muay Thai. And, I mean, it's going down this weekend, starting Friday night and going into Saturday. And obviously the reason why we're here in the beginning, Tim Cudgess and I, is being televised on GFL.TV this Saturday night, October 13th. It's going to be live from Delaware. It's going to be the Cage Fury Fighting Championships. Now, I'm not good with the Roman numerals, but I'm assuming it's 17. They should just put the 17. And we're going to talk to the CEO about that, because someone as uneducated as myself, even with 2 college degrees, I still can't figure out Roman numerals. But it's a huge, huge, huge card, and just recently announced. After 3 days of performing on the Batista undercard. Oh, we got somebody listening in the background. Cedric Chocolate Thunder Goodridge, he's going to be joining us tonight as part of the CFFC extravaganza this Saturday night. Serge De Silva, he'll be here, and Gregory Samanig, and he'll be here as well. But also as the main eventer, who's going to be fighting in the main event, he actually was a Bellator combatant, and he won his last fight by way of knockout on one of the Bellator events. And he goes, now I'm going to try my best with my linguisticness. His name is Ayung La Nasang. Tim, did I say that right?
What was that?
The guy, Ayung La Nasang.
I believe your pronunciation is 100% correct.
And I got that from Tim Cudgess, who basically pronounces everybody's names. So that doesn't work too good there. But yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that event that's going down. And if obviously if you're not there live in Delaware at the Dover Downs, GFL.TV is the place to be to catch some great top-notch mixed martial arts action presented by Cage Fury Fighting Championships. And, with that being said, as we're waiting for them, Ayung La, the Burmese Python Nasang, he's fighting Jason Luck in a very tough, 2 very rough, rugged fighters going down in this middleweight showdown. Like I mentioned, Sang is the Bellator veteran. He won his last bout with the organization by knockout in under a minute earlier this year. Sang is a rising star, and he's finally getting some recognition for his skills. And the fans of Delaware, will get to see that up close, as well as the fans of GFL.TV. Saying he possesses knockout power in both hands and his feet, but is more than a one-kick pony.
That was good. I like that one. Is that funny, though?
That was fucking great, dude. I'm sorry, dude. I thought that was great. But going back into it, getting back into saying, that's not me. I don't know what's so funny, Alex Eiserman. But but with Sang and Locke is obviously the one to look out this weekend. It's the one everybody's been waiting for if you're an MMA fan. But looking down, there's plenty of talented up-and-coming fighters that are going to be battling it out. I think we're looking at about 9-10 fights on the card. I think it's 9. And momentarily we'll be joined by Rob, who is the CEO of CFFC. And we actually spoke to him before on the show. Rob, you actually just missed it, man. I was really getting into it. I did it without a stutter, basically talking about the main event fighter. Rob, I got to ask you like this, man. You're putting this great fight. This is a really attractive fight for MMA fans. I can say this fight promises to end in a finish. But how is his name? We've seen him fighting on Bellator, but I cannot pronounce his full name. If you can help us out with that, Rob.
That's going to be the first question you're going to ask me tonight? That's really putting me on the spot.
You don't know either. That's perfect. We work. I work like peanut butter and jelly.
I'm hoping to meet him tomorrow and ask him personally how the hell you say his name. But it's my understanding the translation to me has been Ang Lang Song.
Ang Lang Song. Okay, so I'm gonna try my best when we.
Yeah, my whole staff is looking at me right now like, no, you just got it wrong. So I'm not even going to try again.
And you're going to leave that up to me. Tim Cudges. GFL persona, GFL master. I asked him, and we call him the Iron Butcher. He's the Iron Butcher of names, much like Walter Howard, who's on the show. Again, a lot of these fighters, and I look at this. Rob, we had you on the show before, hyping up a couple CFFC events in the past, and I see a lot of the same name. So obviously some guys have been doing pretty well with you, and you invited them back to fight again. Basically this Saturday night, going down at Dover Downs. Obviously GFL.TV. Enlighten us, man. What's going down this weekend? What's the highlight of this huge CFFC 17 card?
Well, here's the deal. About a month ago, the CEO, the top guy of Dover Downs, attended one of our events at the Borgata Casino. We shook hands on a deal for 2013. We're going to be back here next year. We're going to do 4 shows. About a week after our show, he called and said, is there any way possible for you guys to do a show this year, because they've never done a pro event here, and I think it would be a good idea to test the waters, and let's get through the medical hurdles and figure out why no one else has ever done pro events here before. It's typically not how we like to do things. We like to prepare for a fight at least, 2-3 months out for our marketing campaign, get, guys in a full fight camp. But we took on the challenge. To say we haven't gone through any hoops and hurdles to get to the point that we're at today would be an understatement. But we're there. We think we've got a solid card for the fans that are coming this weekend. We've had some last-minute replacements. We all know when the weather changes, hit and fall, people start getting sick, and we did have a couple people who unfortunately had to pull out last minute. But we've had some of our regulars, guys like Shedrick Goodridge step up on literally 2-3 days' notice to step in and take a fight in replace of a sick Mike Wilcox. But, overall, we're happy that we're going to get an event underway here in Delaware this year. And, we're really looking to the future here and building Dover Downs Casino as a future home of CFFC alongside of the Borgata and our new venue in Virginia.
You know what? That's an interesting story there, Rob, and definitely appreciate you sharing it with us. And the one thing I got to say like this, you got Cedric Goodridge coming on there. His nickname, and we know he just fought a couple of days ago. I believe it was this past Saturday night. Yeah. And him to step up and step in there, right away. That's unprecedented. Not too many guys have enough cojones to just go in there and step in there and fight again. A week away, a week after our last fight, but, shout out to him. But I got to give props to him for his nickname, Chocolate Thunder. I mean, that was on the whole staff, GFL, Pro MMA Insider Radio, and ATG. It's Chocolate Thunder has been it's been on the tip of our tongues all night. The nickname's sensational.
No, Cedric Chocolate Thunder Goodridge is definitely not only a great ambassador for a pro fighter in our region because, like you guys just stated, he took a fight on short notice, coming off an unfortunate loss this past weekend. But that's MMA. Things happen. Guys get caught. Guys get clipped. When Mike notified us literally 2 days ago, he said, "Hey, listen, I'm sick, and what do you guys think?" I immediately called our general manager, Mr. Arias Garcia, and advised him. I said, "Listen, we need a replacement at 185." He said, "Who do you have in mind?" I said, I know Cedric, and I think he would take the fight. And we called him, and lo and behold, he took the fight. And on the flip side, we appreciate Ray Elliott, another professional who agreed on an opponent change. These guys are professionals. They prepare for a certain style of fighter. And, on a regional level, this stuff happens all the time. And, it sort of weeds out the guys who are pretenders versus the guys who are true contenders. And Cedric is a true contender, and he's a household name in the tri-state area, and he's a fighter that's going to be around for many years to come. And for taking this fight on 2 days' notice, our door is always going to be open to him.
And, Rob, we're looking forward to, I'm hoping he's able to show up tonight. I know he's preparing for a fight, just coming off a fight, but I'm looking forward to talking to him in the next few minutes. Another one, the last CFFC press conference we had here on the show, one of my favorites that I got to see on that card, on the last card, CFFC 15, was Anton Berzin. Now, I just want to make sure I know, like you said, with the change of the weather, is Anton going to be on there? Because I remember the last fight, he had a sensational submission win on CFFC 15, I think it was.
Yeah, Anton checked in 15 minutes ago. We all took a big, deep breath in and a sigh of relief, but he is in the building. He will be on the card Saturday night. He's a tough animal in the 205-pound weight class. And, in his last outing, like you guys said, at CFFC 15, he beat a highly talented Danny Holmes, who was, had an unblemished record in both his amateur and pro career to that point. So Anton is a very, very tough guy, and he's a guy that you're going to see on the UFC level in, a few years down the road.
And what, I agree, and I'm going to just touch on Anton one more second. I know we're going to be expecting one of the fighters up here next. But yeah, you mentioned 205. I think this guy's got great intangibles. He's got a great look. Great at submissions, obviously. And you mentioned it right there. We were talking to him at the last press conference for CFFC 15, and obviously that's his ultimate goal. I remember you say it's your goal. You want to eventually get these guys to that level, to cross over, to get onto the mainstream. And I got to agree with you with Anton. I think the kid has a lot of talent, a lot of potential for the future.
No, he's got a lot of similarities to Drago and Rocky. I mean, he's a cold stone Russian, and in Russia, that's the way they make them. These kids are just rock solid.
I Ivan Drago. Yeah.
He checked in at the lobby, and, I was nervous to hand him his room key. I mean, he's just an intimidating but very quiet, very humble. He's a guy that we're really excited about, that we've got under contract here at CFFC, and, we're looking to push his career along until he leaves us one day for that company. I believe it's called UFC.
That's it. You know, that little company that's down in Las Vegas, barely hanging on by a thread, man. But no, definitely looking forward to him. You know, tell us about this. You know, we got. I think our next guest is going to be joining us in about a couple seconds. De Silva. Him and now here there's another guy. I'm afraid to butcher his name, but Gregory Samaneg. I think I said it. He's making his pro debut. I believe are battling it out this Saturday night.
Yeah, actually, as you were saying his name, him and Bo Shedrick just knocked on the door to come in and talk to you guys when I wrap up here. I think you did okay with his name. He doesn't feel happy right now, so I'll let him. No, he's saying perfect. He said you got it.
I said it perfect. All right, perfect. I don't want to mess with none of these guys. Who am I with? Am I with Greg?
You're with Greg, and you're with Chocolate Thunder. He's here eating some Hershey Kisses to get ready for, I don't know what he's getting ready for. I don't know why he's eating Hershey Kisses, but I guess he's confident or something.
We're looking forward to Greg and Chocolate Thunder joining us right now. Who we got first, Rob?
Well, they're both here. If you guys are okay, you can fire away at both of them. You know, they're not fighting each other. They're not fighting each other.
No, they're not.
I don't have to worry about my room getting damaged here, so I don't think you're going to piss them off, you know, to each other. But I'll set my phone down and ask away.
All right, here, Greg. I'm going to start out with you, my man, Greg, and I hope I got your name, Samaneg. Did I get that right? All right, perfect, man. Tell us, you got Sergio De Silva this Saturday night. What threats? I mean, what do you know about your opponents going into this fight? Is this the type of guy you had an opportunity to study going into this, or is this just another day at the office for you?
I looked up some video on him. Didn't really find much, but it's just another day at the office, just training hard and doing what I know how, and just getting ready and just focusing on my skills, and that's about it.
What type of prediction can you look into for this Saturday night against your opponent? You know, I mean, obviously a victory, but if you could give us a what type of stoppage, a decision that you're hoping to go in there and grab.
I mean, I'm always looking to finish a fight, always. So, I mean, I'm a big takedown guy, so if I could get a couple takedowns and establish good position, hopefully a stoppage would be nice.
Greg, now you know we're here on behalf of GFL.TV, Pro MMA Insider Radio. We're not sure if you have anybody that's going to be tuning in live on internet pay-per-view, on IPP, on GFL.TV. We know we have a lot of people, a lot of fans that follow CFFC. We want to give you an opportunity here before we let you go. Turn it over to Chocolate Thunder. If you have any Twitter, a Twitter handle, a Facebook you want to plug out to the listeners out there in the MMA world.
All right, yeah, I just want to shout out to all the guys that are, you know, been training me and getting ready for this fight, and my main sponsor, Tunnel Vision, they helped me out with a lot of my gear for this fight, and just everybody that's been helping me getting ready for war this Saturday.
All right, hey, Greg, definitely appreciate you stopping by. We hope everything, weight cut and all that stuff is good to go for you, man. You go in there and everything comes out your way this Saturday night on GFL.TV, CFFC 17. You have a good one, my man. God bless.
You too. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I want to go next. I want to talk to the man who's you know, he's got the best nickname in the house. I think the best nickname now, hands down, in mixed martial arts. Cedric Chocolate Thunder Goodridge. Chocolate Thunder, what's going on, man? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. You know, chilling, waiting it out.
Let's start it out right here, man. We got to know. Look, man, you have a busy 7 days, obviously, but we got to know where the business with the nickname Chocolate Thunder comes from.
Honestly, it came from my first amateur fight. We were looking for a song for me to come out to, and my jiu-jitsu instructor was like, "Oh, you should come out to Chocolate Rain." And I was like, "No, I'm not coming out to Chocolate Rain. Why would I do that?" And the next thing you know, people said Chocolate Thunder, calm it down, and then they just ran with it.
You know what's funny? I think just for that, I think we do have something on cue.
Just let rain. Some stay dry and others feel the pain.
Look at that, Chocolate Thunder. You were tailor-made for this show, my man. But now tell us like this. Look, man, you're coming off of a fight this past Saturday night, 3 days' notice, taking another fight this Saturday night. I believe it's stepping right into the co-feature of the evening. I mean, what's all behind that, man? I mean, Ray Elliott will be the man standing in front of you. How do you prepare yourself, physically and mentally so close between fights?
I mean, I never stopped training. Like, right after that last fight, it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. I ended up getting clipped. I really wasn't hurt at all, but it's the way it goes. And Monday I was right back in the gym, kept working, didn't stop. So I was already in shape for the fight. And I got, like, some of the best teammates in the world, so I'm always ready to fight someone. So as soon as the opportunity came, I just jumped on it.
Now, I'm assuming you're the type of guy who goes back and checks out his mistakes, from this past Saturday. Is 7 days enough time to correct your mistakes and not let those mistakes happen this Saturday night at CFFC?
Definitely it is, because we go, like, in depth with everything. Like, I sat there, I think I watched the fight about 15 times. And sat there and, like, I know where I messed up at. The first thing we did on Monday was go and right back to that same situation where everything happened. And we just handled it right then and there. And they're two different fighters, so, I mean, you might see some similar stuff, but I don't see anywhere where I should be worried about what I'm going into on Saturday.
All right, with Chocolate Thunder, man, we're looking forward to it. Myself and the entire ProMMA Insider Radio team, the GFL.TV team, we're going to be live tweeting. Looking forward to seeing some great action. Anywhere anybody can follow you on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere on the social networking scene in lieu of this Saturday night CFFC 17 on GFL.TV.
Yeah, you can follow me at CT Goodridge _185. That's my Twitter. You can go on my Facebook, facebook.com/Chocolate Thunder. That's me. So I want to give a shout out to pretty much all my sponsors for this fight: Gamma Labs, Jersey Pump, Future Legend, Warfare Inc. Definitely want to give a thank out to CFFC and Garcia for bringing me up here. Devin for being the greatest lady ever known to the world. Papa Freak. Rob Hydak for giving me this opportunity to fight again. Hey, that God, you know what I meant. My team back at Camp Sallock, All-Star BJJ, the guys at Enzo in New York, Ricardo, everybody.
Well, Chocolate Thunder, man, we appreciate your time tonight. So close to the fight. Wish you all the best this Saturday night, champ. God bless you, man.
All right, thank you.
Take it easy, man. Hey, all right, so we're going to go right into our next guest, and we actually did talk to his opponent, and, he said he's going in there looking for the victory. We'll see if Sergio the Savage De Silva has to say about his opponent, Gregory Samanieg. He's fighting this Saturday night, CFFC 17, from Dover Downs, live on GFL.TV. Sergio, how's it going tonight, champ? How you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, man. I want to thank you first and foremost for your time this evening. Basically, my man, getting right into it, not to waste too much of your time, but going into this Saturday night, CFFC 17, with your opponent, Gregory Samanieg. Tell me what you expect from your opponent and what you're going to go in there and do to him.
First of all, thank you for having me. And I'm ready for Saturday, and I expect him to come on really well-trained, and I'm sure he worked really hard for this fight. I always respect my opponents, and I never underestimate anyone, but I work, I'm sure I work 10 times harder. I have no doubt about that. And Saturday night, I show it. I don't talk, I show it.
And I'm definitely looking forward to it. basically like this, man, we wanted to get that out of you. We hope, that you have a ton of supporters, either live in attendance at Dover Downs or otherwise checking out on GFL.tv. But we have your Twitter handle on hand right now. We want to encourage everybody to follow you at The Savage One, The Savage and One. Is that correct, Sergio?
Yes, sir. THESAVAGE and the number 1.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good, man. I figured by that time you must have had Twitter for a while. I figured that one would have been cooking up, or you would have had.
Yeah, I love my Twitter followers, man. I've been on that for a while, and people always show me support. I meet tons of people that always come out from, and watch my fights, and I like the social media stuff. I'm on Facebook too, facebook.com/The Savage One, and Instagram too. But people, I'm so fortunate, to have a lot of support. Where it doesn't matter where I fight, people always believe in me and they see how hard I work. So I really do appreciate that, and I want to thank everybody.
Well, we definitely, and Sergio, looking forward to it, man. To hype up, do this press conference thing for CFFC right here on Pro MMA Insider Radio. We want to wish you all the best this Saturday night. Myself personally, I look forward to seeing your fight, and I wish you all the best. Hope everything goes your way this Saturday, my man.
Thank you, sir. I really do appreciate it. Again, thanks for having me, and I can't wait to get on and fight.
You got it, my man. God bless you, bro. Have a great night.
Thank you, bro. You too.
Thank you. All right, going into that, definitely that's a very talented kid right there, and we're going to have our actually final guest for this whole CFFC 17 takeover here, and we're going to go into it in just a moment, but definitely looking forward to what's to come this Saturday night. 9 fights, and it's all action-packed. The last CFFC that I've witnessed, I actually called, I think it was about the last 3 or 4. Tim and I sit there, we live tweeted, and never disappointed. We'll be there. It'll be the same thing, same time, same place. And Tim, we're waiting on our last guy, correct?
Yep. It should be on any minute now. But yeah, like you were saying, definitely want to check out the CFFC event coming up this Saturday, DFL. It starts at 6 p.m. Eastern Time and 3 p.m. Pacific for you afternoon guys. It's only $14.99, so it's a hell of a deal. Tons of MMA action. And we're just waiting for the main event to jump on right now, and then we'll be good to go.
No, and then, looking into it like that, I just once again give a little bit of a breakdown as far as the main event goes. Like I said, nobody, Chocolate Thunder steps in, replaces Mike the Cowboy Wilcox, and he faces Ray Elliott in the co-feature. But then again, the Burmese Python, that's what I'm going to refer him to, the Burmese Python, until he can pronounce our name. I don't want to butcher his name too bad. He's going in there. From what I hear and from what I've seen on video and stuff, he is the real deal, and he's looking in there. But the guy standing in front of him, Jason Locke, is not a pushover. Both of these guys got similar records. Actually, Jason Locke has more wins than him, than the Burmese Python, and this is promising to be a good fight. 2 guys that like to throw blows. If you're looking for, MMA, one of the main facets of MMA is obviously the ground game, and with the main event here at CFFC, I mean, you expect to see it. It's the strong survive, but expect to see Jason Locke and the Burmese Python trade blows for however long the fight lasts. And I don't expect the fight to go to the final bell, because I expect someone to get knocked out in this fight. So, definitely, this is the one to see. This is the one to check out. Once again, if you're not there Saturday night, October 13th, at the Rollins Center, Dover Downs, you got to come. You got to come where we're watching at GFL.tv, $14.99, as Tim said. So technically, it's under $15. You can't get good entertainment like that anywhere. You get your whole crew in the house. Everybody pitch in.
You can't beat that with a stick for only $14.99. It's a hell of a deal for a full night of MMA action. And, I mean, it's just going to be a crazy weekend. I'm going to definitely be live tweeting this event. Now, we're hoping these guys would get on in time. I'm just not sure what's going on, but I'm definitely looking forward to this main event. I'm looking forward to a few other fights on the card, but it's definitely going to be a good one.
Well, you know what? And here, in Pro MMA Insider Radio tonight, I mean, there's some really good stuff coming on as we're waiting. We'll you know, whenever he calls in, I mean, we're going to proceed with the show as schedule, and then just we'll fit in the Burmese Python whenever he gets in there. But Alex Osterman has the Superstars of Invicta Fighting Championships here tonight. I think he's got the entire roster lined up here tonight. I'm looking forward to this, and you know, these lovely ladies. Oh wait, 1 second before we get to them. I think Tim. I think we do have our last guy, and it'll only take us about 2 minutes. So Nicdali, she was on last week. I believe Shayna. Is that who else is going to be joining us first? Just hang tight real quick, and we're just going to get the main event for the CFFC. Are we being joined by the Burmese Python?
No, we're not.
No. Okay, well, we're just going to proceed. We're going to go into the Invicta until the Burmese Python joins us. And
Invicta takeover.
Taking over. The CFFC this Saturday night. GFL.TV, $14.99. Pick it up.
All right, yeah, as they were saying, we're getting ready to go with the girls at Invicta. We have six of the girls that won the fights this past week. That's almost half the fight, so we're really excited by that. And fortunately for this next hour, we're going to be joined by the one and only, and I'm going to pronounce her name right this time, Nicdali Rivera-Calanoc, who was with us last week, and hell of a fighter. She was victorious in Invicta 2, and I'd like to welcome her to the show. Nicdali, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, and you pronounced it right. I'm so happy.
Yeah, me too. I was a little embarrassed last week. I felt bad for that. So thanks so much for joining us. Obviously, it's great to have someone with your knowledge of the sport in to help us through things as we go along. But it was a phenomenal show. We talked to you last week. First, we're going to bring on two of the fighters that won. One fighter in particular, you're a huge fan of. She's joining us first. Hopefully she's sober because, or not sober. She said she was working her way on that. Shayna Baszler, welcome to Pro MMA Insider. How you doing?
Pretty good. Still sober. So you guys are ahead right now.
I don't believe that for a second.
I did take like 3 really quick shots of sake, so hopefully it hits me before the interview's over and I can win this battle.
All right, we're also joined by another girl who's victorious on there, Stephanie Frausto. Stephanie, welcome. And she was so excited to be on the show, she called in an hour early. So thanks for calling back, Stephanie. Welcome. Stephanie, are you there? Oh, I guess maybe I'm drunk. I didn't have her on the now, Stephanie. Welcome, Stephanie. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks.
And then finally, we're going to be joined by the fabulous Carla J. Carla, welcome. Carla, you there? All right, well, I have issues there. Anyway, let's start with you, Nicdali. What did you think of the card? I mean, you got a chance to watch this one. You were involved in the fight. Who were you excited to see, and what did you think of the card?
I was super excited to see Shayna fight, of course. Everyone knows I'm a huge fan of hers. I think sometimes it's kind of creepy. I don't know if she ever notices, but because I'm such a fan of hers, sometimes I'm like, get starstruck looking at her. I'm like, oh my God, it's Shayna. And I'm like, we're friends. That's retarded. But yeah. Anyway, really, like, the whole card was exciting. I was pretty happy watching it. I got to watch it live, so the whole thing was exciting.
Shayna, first of all, I just want to say, last week, I asked Nicdali who she liked, and she pointed out to you, and I watched that fight, and she talked about how mean and nasty you are, and if anything, she kind of was undersold you. You have to be the nastiest person. I mean that in a good way that I've ever seen. First of all, what was up with the Achilles heel stomps? Those were disgusting and nasty. Tell us about that.
Well, the thing is about that is that from that position, in catch wrestling, there's a toe hold there where you drop your shin on the back of their Achilles and pull their toes. And so when I was looking down at it, I saw it there, but Sarah had my arm in, like, such a death grip that I couldn't reach. So in my mind, I was like, well, how else can I attack the Achilles right here? So it was just something, I don't know, came up with spur of the moment. And then when the clacker goes off and you just got to start, like, finishing the round strong, that was all that was, like, I just started turning it up a notch, and I don't know. It seemed to do all right because everyone's talking about it.
It looked pretty nasty because, like, when she got up, like, to go to the stool in between rounds, like, she was limping. I was like, oh, my God, she's going to be done the next round.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was really tough. But I seriously thought, I was like, oh, she's going to get it.
And,
yeah, she took her foot out of the way.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, she tucked her foot out of the way, like, right when I first started doing it. And so I had to switch off to some body shots or whatever and keep going back and forth. But it had to have affected her enough, at least, that she didn't want to leave it there.
Well, yeah, I would say she wouldn't like that. Hey, Stephanie, get you in here for a second. You beat Amy Davis by a guillotine in the first round. Tell us a little about that.
Well, we had to figure out the game plan that morning before the fight. So, because I guess my coach Georgie, he had a dream about it. So the morning before, we're doing like a pre-warm up, and so we just went over the game plan over and over again until I got it down perfect. And then
that guy had a dream that you were gonna guillotine her.
Well, he had a dream
of
like
in my corner.
Well, yeah, my coach sees the future, and it usually happens. Like, we're watching fights or something.
Awesome.
He'll be like, okay, she's going to throw a head kick. And, like, 10, 15 seconds later, he throws a head kick.
Shayna, we need to kidnap him for a corner.
Yeah.
Mine.
Even just to tie him up and be like, what did you dream last night? Tell me now.
Yes, tell me right now.
Yeah, because he was watching her fight, I guess, like, the night before, and then he had a dream about it. And then he told me that morning.
That's what I've been doing wrong. I need crazy fortune teller superpower people.
Me too.
He's a wizard. I mean, Shayna, you're a wizard too, on the ground. But he's a different kind of wizard.
I just don't let her fool you.
I just want to welcome in Carla J, guys. She's joining us from Houston. So hello to Carla and welcome.
Hey, Carla. Hey, Nicdali, how are you? I'm good. I'm excited to talk to you again. I know, and then you brought friends along. I like it. Hey, ladies.
Hi.
All right. Hey, Stephanie, you mentioned George there. Tell us a little bit about what it's like being in a family like that. I know you started with with a striking background. What's it like, having a sister that's a fighter, having a brother-in-law that's a fighter? Do you think that helps you a lot?
It helps out a lot. I mean, it's a lot. We treat each other a lot differently from when we're outside school and from when we're inside school. Usually, when I'm inside, I call him Professor, and we bow to each other. I don't call him by his first name. It's totally different from when we're inside. When we're outside, we always joke with each other. And
so it sounds to me like basically I have Shayna and Stephanie who are completely opposite ends of the spectrum. Is that right?
Is it?
Probably, style-wise, maybe.
Well, this seems like, I'm sure obviously you both respect the arts, but just like, Stephanie seems more like she's, very, very, I don't know what's the word, she likes to talk about being very professional, and then, not that you're not professional, she's very...
You're like digging yourself a hole.
No, I know.
She's not professional?
I know, I use the wrong word. No, but her, talking about she's very, save me, Nicdali. Take over.
I think what he's trying to say is
disrespectful.
He pictures Shayna as like rock star, you know what I mean? And I don't know. I think that's what he means.
Maybe I'm just old. It's because I'm old and I just don't give a crap anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I have an obvious caliber.
Shayna, whatever.
I'm older than you think.
I know how old you are, but I'm not going to say. Because you might come over here and twister me.
No, I don't care. Age don't age.
Hey, you're Asian, so you're like 20.
Age don't age.
Timeless.
Shayna, tell us about your fight a little bit with Sarah. You know, people like MMA. I guess they like doing the fights, but I can't imagine it's too enjoyable for having someone draped over him for 2 rounds like that. First of all, were you surprised that her defense was so good? And you know, just tell us about the finish of the fight. I mean, it was just. I was really surprised she was able to hang in there that long, and like I said, it can't be enjoyable for someone to put up with that for that long.
Well, we know, like, as far as, like, catch wrestling, it's a very top-game grappling style, obviously, because what catch wrestling is, for people that don't know, is pretty much Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu plus pins. So there's not so much playing off your back, and there's a lot more fighting to not be on your back and get pinned, and so because of that, riding a top is a really, really huge part of catch wrestling. And so we know that pretty much against the majority of girls out there today that my top game is going to be really hard to deal with. Catch wrestling is good at making a 140-pound Shayna feel like 300 pounds. And that's really tiring for someone. And, you know, I wasn't surprised that she was good at defending. Sarah D'Aurelio has really good ground. And I think going into the fight, everybody knew that. We knew that. It's just that the way I transition and the things I do aren't orthodox. So I think that was where I was one step ahead of her, was that it was kind of off of the map of where what she's used to. And it worked out for me, so, you know.
Shayna, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I noticed that Ben and Josh Barnett weren't in your corner this time, so I was just wondering, like, did you, like, switch camps, or did you have new partners?
No.
Or?
Josh had to race his car, actually, this weekend. And if anybody that knows Josh or whatever, he's into, like, his cars and sticking his head under the hood and putting stuff together and racing them. So he actually had to, you know, race his car. But when we talked about it and everything about how he probably wasn't going to be able to make my fight, we were like, well, you know, with both of us trying to take over the world, it was bound to happen at some point. You know, so we still communicated quite a bit, and I called him right after my fight, and we talked, and he was actually trying to catch the stream on his phone but couldn't pick it up, so he started following everyone's Twitter that was tweeting about it to get play-by-plays. So he knew everything that was going on, and yeah, we talked a little when I was downstairs in the warm-up room, like right after my fight. So.
Hey, yeah, tell us a little about working with Josh Barnett. For those that don't know, you know, obviously he's had a huge influence on your career. But I'm a little curious about outside of the ring. You know, I'd read that he came up with the whole guitar thing coming out to the cage, and I even read something about he sent you some kind of thing about some verbal how to speak and cut promos, if you will. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the biggest things that Josh did for me was the fighting side of fighting that isn't fighting, if that makes any sense. And that's what you were talking about, was making your brand very stand apart from everybody else. Because one of the things he first iterated to me was, especially back in those days, wow, it makes me sound old to say something like that, but, you know, promoters
well, you have been fighting for 10 years.
I know. Promoters don't, promoters care more about making a buck, really, than anything else. And I'm not trying to, like, say that in a bad way, like, knock on promoters or whatever, because, like, Janet and Shannon, for example, are awesome, and they've done a great job. But, like, way back when I first started working with Josh, it was like this. If you lose a fight and you can be replaced by someone who is the exact same as you, so, for example, if I come into a fight and I say, yeah, I hope to win by knockout or submission, and I just want to show that females can fight just like the men. I mean, like, there's 100 other girls that say that, right? So why wouldn't they replace me with someone cheaper that says the exact same thing as me? But if I come out and I say, like what did I say for the McMahon fight? Like, oh, I think I'm going to do something so awesome, everyone's jaws are going to hit the floor and the things are going to collapse and there's going to be no record of what happened because everyone will die in the wreckage or something ridiculous. Right? And come out with a guitar and you know, really make the Queen of Spades brand stand out, then I can't be replaced, win or lose. You're not going to bring someone else in that's going to do or say the same stuff as me. So making you irreplaceable and having that be a really important part of your career is something he really drilled into my head. And it kind of took me out of my comfort zone. My cheeks are getting hot, guys. I got the Asian flush going on, so it might be catching up to me. But at first, you know, when he called me and he's like, hey, you like ESP guitars? Yes. Cool, they're going to sponsor you. The thing is, you have to carry a guitar out to the ring. And I was like, what? Are you serious? That's so cheesy. You know, and he made me do it.
And then you break one again.
That was pretty awesome, and I should do that again.
And that was the only thing that made me mad about your fight is you didn't break the guitar. I was like, yes, and I noticed it was yours. I was like, no, she's not going to break it.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I want to ask Stephanie here real quick about the move down to 105, just 1 second, but I have to cover to Frank for a minute. He needed to jump in here for just 1 second. Frank, go ahead. Oh, did we lose Frank? Hold on a second. Guess we lost Frank. Never mind. We'll carry on, and we'll go ahead and ask Stephanie real quick. Stephanie, you moved down to 105. Didn't have as much success at 115. How did the move down to 105? How did it help you?
Well, when I started fighting at 115, I actually started fighting at 110. Then they couldn't find me any more fights at 110, so I had to go up to 115. But once there started being more girls, it was a lot easier to find matches at 105. And I feel a lot stronger there. I feel like I have better cardio, and it's really good. I like it. I don't know what else.
Hello?
Yeah.
Is it just you and I?
I'm here.
I'm here, too. I don't know what happened to the guys.
He said that he's going to get the next two girls on. I'm like, dang it, I've been waiting to ask my question, but I don't want to ask it, like, if we're not on the radio, you know? So,
yeah,
I guess I'll wait.
Yeah, we can rule the world without them.
You know what I mean? I'm like, see, all the ladies are on the call right now. We could have did this without the guys. We'll have to do that, you know, in the next couple of weeks, okay?
We could just have all lady voices, and
that would be hot. That would be like so much fun. We'll see what's up with that in a couple of weeks.
Well, I guess I better drink another shot.
There you go.
Are you serious? Where are you? I need to be there.
I am at home enjoying my week of drunken gluttony, and then I have to be back in the gym.
That sounds.
How's that going
I'm
for
you? With food.
Yeah, the food's been glorious.
Stephanie, what's your favorite food to eat? Not fighting, obviously.
I don't know. Cheesecake.
Cheesecake?
Cheesecake has been this one, but it's like I want something more like Thai food now. I don't know.
Thai food?
It's kind of hard because there's so many things. I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I've been eating nonstop since weigh-ins. I think I've just been eating, and that's it.
Yeah. You've been eating for how long?
Since maybe a week. Yeah.
Are you serious? Okay, then how long does it take you to get back into training mode? And this is Carla, you guys. How long does it take you to get back in training mode and get back, focused and all of that when you, are in your drunken gluttony, mode and all of that? How long does it take for you to shift and kind of get back focused?
The truth is, by the time, I usually take a week, and by the time that week is over, I'm I hate my life so much that I want to get back in the gym because, like, just, like, eating Tums all the time and feeling like crap. I'm like, how do the foolish mortals live this way? It's horrible.
That's exactly the same exact way.
We got everybody close. Okay, where's everyone at? What state are each of you in right now?
I'm in Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio.
I'm in South Dakota, Midwest. What's up?
Damn. Okay.
I don't even want to say. It's not even a
where
cool place.
Where are you?
New Mexico?
New Mexico?
Oh, girl, I wish. No. Oklahoma.
What? Oklahoma's kind of like the Midwest, too.
Yeah, but I don't like it. But we're going to move soon, so.
Where are you moving to?
Soon, but, like, eventually.
Where are you thinking about moving to?
Probably Colorado.
Really? Colorado's nice.
Colorado. Yeah, Colorado.
Denver is one of my
in the
top
mountains.
5 favorite cities in the U.S. to be.
Yeah,
Where?
same here. Denver,
I love
Colorado.
Denver. Yeah.
Really?
Denver, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Denver is
Be like-
really, really nice.
Yeah.
Even when it's snow all over the place and everything, you can literally, like, go and walk around with just a light jacket on. It's not even,
like it's
crazy.
warm. Even when there's snow, it's not cold.
Really?
Yep.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm going to like that.
Snow and
No?
everything. It's so nice. Yeah.
I like snow.
I don't.
If you like snow, you should come to South Dakota. We get crapped on.
I know you guys do. I went there in January once, and the snow was, like, taller than me. I was like, what?
No, last year wasn't even bad. When you were here, it was a light year even. There's been times where I've had to, like, crawl out the window to my house to shovel the door open. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You, how about you, Stephanie? Do you guys get snow like that in Ohio?
Well, we usually do, but last year was my first year, and I guess we brought the sun with us because there wasn't any snow.
See?
Okay.
I don't know. Last year must have been an easy snow time for everyone.
Yeah.
It didn't even snow down here at all. Not even
bad
once.
this year. It's going to be really bad this year.
God, I hope so.
That's what everyone's
Kill
saying
some of
about
these
us,
bugs
too.
I'm going to stay inside. I'll build something to train inside.
Well, this year, Nicdali, I'll have to come down there to escape the horrible snow.
There you go.
Yeah.
I actually Facebooked you about that today because I got a new phone. So.
Oh. I haven't been on Facebook all day. I've been Halloween costume shopping.
Cut off or something to tell us he was leaving, but they're still online.
Here's the deal with that. Well, I noticed a lot of times. It's bad.
They totally ditched us. They hate us.
I know. They don't like
They
us.
couldn't have because we're all still on the line, like on the actual line for ATG. So someone has to be somewhere. I wonder if we're still live and we're just like shooting.
Oh my
shit
God!
Like
and we're just like, la da 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 da.
I think so. Hold on, I'm gonna check it and see.
But is this? Can someone log onto it on the internet and hear us right now, or is this pre-recorded?
That's what I'm gonna try to do right now.
Where she said she was working her way on that. Shayna Baszler, welcome to Pro MMA Insider. How you doing?
Pretty good. Still sober. So you have
No, that's earlier. That's the pre-record. That's already stopped. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, in the school, it's different.
All right, what I miss, ladies?
Oh man, we talked about everything. You don't even want to know X-rated stuff too that you would love.
X-rated.
Well, fortunately, it's a podcast, so I can listen back. We do have our next two fighters with us, ladies.
Live.
What's that? Stephanie
Have we been live the whole time?
Oh yeah, you're live.
No.
Stephanie and Shayna, you're welcome to stay. I'd love to have you stay if you want, or if you want to take off, let us know, and we can plug your stuff real quick.
Can I ask a question real fast? Because I didn't get to ask my question to Stephanie. So this is kind of like random and weird that I noticed. But Stephanie, at weigh-ins, you were wearing a swimsuit. I noticed that when Zoila fought in Bellator, she wore a similar swimsuit. Is it the same swimsuit or just a similar swimsuit?
Yeah, well, it's a Brazilian bikini, so she has like 3, 4 of them, so I wear her swimsuit.
Why didn't you turn around if it was a Brazilian bikini?
Because the audience, you're not supposed to turn your back to the audience.
Well, you know who wasn't scared to turn around was one of our next guests who got a lot of attention for her weigh-in attire. We have Kat Zingano joining us. Kat, welcome to the show.
Woohoo! Brazilian bikinis.
And then we also want to welcome a girl a lady who, like me, has some of the most ridiculous abs you'll ever see in your life. Julia Budd is joining us as well. Welcome, Julia.
Hi. Hi. Hey, welcome. Now I feel lame. I didn't wear a Brazilian bikini, or do I have really awesome abs like Julia Budd?
Who has really awesome abs like Julia Budd? I don't know too many people that do.
She won. No matter how hard I work, I won't have ribs.
So I feel kind of out of place here with all the ladies, but Stephanie and Shayna, you going to stay with us, or are you going to take off?
Well, I'm going to take off.
I'll stay for a little bit.
All right, so Stephanie, you're going to take off. It was great having you. Tell us a little about the folks where they can follow you on Twitter, social media, and all that kind of stuff.
You can follow me on Twitter, Steph Macaquinha. I also have Facebook and Instagram.
All right, well, thanks so much, and congratulations on your win, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah.
So Shayna, as we move into Julie and Kat here, are you liquored up yet?
A little bit, but I'm gonna have more. So it'll only get worse. I apologize to Kat and Julia as I get worse and worse throughout this.
Shayna,
cheers. I just
you need to take one for me because my fake birthday is coming up. So.
All right, I'm taking another one just for that.
My fake vampire birthday.
All right,
Julia, here we go.
Julia, let's get you real quick. You had a TKO of Daniel West in the first round. Tell us a little about fighting someone at short notice like that. You know, you're training for one person, and then all of a sudden you get someone at such short notice. Does it affect you at all as far as how you're planning for the fight and that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, you know what, I just always kind of knew that I'd end up fighting her, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but yeah, it was a little bit of a difference because I was kind of preparing for more of like a Sansu style stand-up fighter like Elena Maxwell, and then, you know, I knew Daniela would turn into that kind of fight, so, I mean, whatever, I was ready to go.
Well, this is for all you girls. She seems, and I could be wrong, but she comes across as probably the nicest person you'll ever meet, Danielle West. How does it affect you, you know, fighting a fighter that you really don't have a dislike for as opposed to someone that you really don't like?
It's always the same for me. Like, I think it would be easier to fight somebody you really dislike, but I don't know. I'm used to not, like, it's nothing personal, so I'm used to fighting people that I kind of like, so I don't mind. I know about the other girls, but
I'm like way worse to people that I know. It's almost like you know, if a linebacker is really good friends with the quarterback, he's gonna really try to smack him into the ground even worse because they're friends. Like, that's how I feel like. Like, Sarah DeLeo and me have partied together, and I was like, oh, she's gonna get it now. Like, I don't know.
Good fight, by the way.
Kat, what about you?
Which part? What are you talking about?
Well, actually, what I'd like you to know about you is, you know, you were signed with Strikeforce. That card got canceled. So you came over to Invicta. Now I guess Strikeforce is apparently closing shop. What's your status? Are you going to stick with Invicta? Do you know at this point what you're doing?
I have no idea what's going on. The last thing I knew, I had a 4-fight contract with Strikeforce. You know, and they were very excited for me to be a contender and had all these plans for me. And then, you know, the day before I'm supposed to fly out for my fight, my husband's waking me up in the morning telling me the fight got canceled and that there's nothing for me, and I was like, can we get on Invicta? Can we find something else? Is there anything in Oklahoma? Can we go to Alaska? Is there something in Japan? Like, I can't have just trained so hard for nothing. And him and my manager, Ricky Vasquez, just really got on the line and did everything they could to try to put it together where I didn't just lose this entire training camp, especially having taken so much time off. I really, I had to work hard to get back into the exact fight shape that I'm comfortable with and one that pleased my coaches. So for Strikeforce to fall through was like, it was devastating. Now that I don't understand what's exactly going to happen with them, I worry. Invicta is obviously good enough. It's more than good enough. It's amazing. But I worry that, women's MMA is not going to have anywhere else to go. And Invicta, I hope, can continue to put on as amazing of shows as it has. And I'd love to stay with Invicta and continue to work my way up.
Hey, Nicdali, I want to ask you about that, being worried about Invicta and that kind of thing. You're obviously friends with Misha. She's made some comments that she thinks that UFC is going to open up to females. Do you believe that's so, or what do you think is going to happen there?
Honestly, if they do open up a division in the UFC, it'll only be 135. That's what I think, honestly, just because, that's all they've really ever cared about. So I think all the rest of us that fight in little people weight class is just, we're just not, but I like Invicta. I am so pleased to be with them, and if the UFC never opens its door to us little people, I don't care. That's just me. But, Kat, I had a question for you.
Yes.
You used to fight at 125, and you did in your last fight. Is it just because you had been out for a while, or is it you feel more comfortable at 135 now, or?
Well, really, to be honest, 125 was a gigantic cut for me, very, very, very large. I really thought that it would be a really good place for me to learn how to fight. Having my opponents always seem much smaller. At being a smaller person, I still feel like I maintained having strength, but, I know because of wrestling, because of my background in cutting weight, it was not easy, but it was feasible for me to get rid of that extra 10 pounds. I'd make 125 even if it was only for 2 hours, out of my life. But now that I feel a little bit more rounded and I'm a lot more comfortable in the different areas that I have disciplines in, I want to go up and test them against people that are my size, and it is definitely a nerve-wracking change. I've been fighting girls that don't cut much weight and are kind of walking around in the 135, around that area, like tops where they cut weight from, where I've been cutting weight from about almost 150 pounds every single time. So to go to 135, it was really nice to not have a huge cut, but it did mess with my head a bit because it was like, oh damn, okay, these people are my size. This is exactly the size person that I should be fighting now. Where a 125-pound person was a lot smaller than me. I guess I always felt like I just walked in a monster. Where I at 135, it's fair game, but I do feel like I got to spend a lot more time, working on my skills and getting better and becoming a more well-rounded fighter where I'm more confident being bigger, where I don't have to, where I can rely on, my strength and them having strength as well versus, I'm so much bigger. If shit falls apart, I have my strength and I have my size in my back pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and I really wanted to accomplish things at 125. I had these rankings I kind of think are ridiculous, but they are catchy to look at. It's hard not to notice them, and they each say different things. Some will say you're somewhere, some will say you're nowhere, and I had goals of just being up there at the top, I wanted to kind of be at the top of a 125-pound weight class and have accomplished that and be able to own that I worked my way from nowhere to somewhere. And I did that, and I told myself as soon as I got to that point that I would, consider going up to the next weight class. And I expect to do the same with this weight class. Eventually I would really like to be, very versatile in fighting anywhere. Like I said, I can be walking around 148, 150. I've even been up to 153 pounds before, where that can put me at fighting at 145, So I really want to go where the fight's at. I really want to go wherever it takes me and wherever things stay fun. You know what I mean? So, so ideally, I just want to make a name for myself at each place and work hard and continue to work harder and just grow with the sport and take care of my body as I go. 125 pounds, I can't do to myself anymore. My body's not agreeing with it. Part of having to take a year off has to do with issues with my hormones and just the fact that, my body fat gets screwed up and then my emotions get screwed up and then life gets screwed up, and I just, being female, it's not good for us to really cut that much weight. And I just committed to both my coaches and, I guess myself that I'm going to do it a lot more healthy, and I'm going to take these fights at a higher weight class, and then eventually take it at a weight class that I don't have to cut anyway.
Yeah. Hey, guys, I want to interrupt here. We're going to bring in our last two guests of the evening, two more victorious fighters from the card last weekend. We're joined right now by Tecia "The Tiny Tornado" Torres, as well as the inaugural and first atomweight champion of Invicta Fighting Championships, Jessica Penne, is joining us. Welcome, ladies.
Nice. Hey, guys.
Hey. All right, so now we got a bunch of you on there. Who's going to be the first to call her out?
Look at you, trying to start stuff.
I feel like everybody is a different size right now. What do you mean, Colin?
Yeah, everybody's tinier than me right now. I can promise you that. Let's do this.
Well, Jessica and I are the same size,
Let's
but
all just
that's
be in
why
the
he's trying
to make it interesting.
Yeah, we got a ladies, I do have a question for you guys. And speaking of calling someone out, do people, and especially because you guys are, obviously females, do you guys have that proverbial, female crap where people try to pit you against one another and be catty and it's, all that underlying shit? Do you guys have to deal with things like that often in the fight game?
It's weird because, to me, it's motivating, when people get really cocky and they come out of their kind of humble zone and they stop being a student and they start being a superstar, to me, it makes me kind of want to put them in their place where they have to eat their words. Not so much of this oh, they're talking bad about me, they're making me uncomfortable, they're making me nervous, oh, they think they can beat me, all this and that. And it's man, they're putting themselves out there. What if they lose? They're going to be feeling really, really shitty after they had just talked all this crap. And think of all the energy that they put into this that they could have been putting into mitts, that they could have been putting into pads. They could have been taking into perfecting their shot or their takedown or working on throws or even working on their mental toughness. There's a lot going into call-outs and shit-talking that inevitably has to sit on the back of people's minds while they're laying there in bed and they're like, oh, damn, are they going to let go of that arm when I'm tapping? Are they going to cut me 500 times and not stop until the referee pulls me off because I said this or because I did that? It really, I think, is kind of a dangerous move to make it personal and to take things to a level where it is a cattiness, because then it stops being a sport and it becomes it becomes kind of like a hierarchy, I guess, in a sense.
I agree with you completely. I think people should be, I don't know, I kind of don't like it when people talk crap about each other, because first of all, you don't even know each other personally.
Right,
so
right.
Why do you open your mouth and say anything? You know, it's like, just do you, you know, work on you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the fact
I think
is
there's
that,
a fine line between selling the fight and being genuine about the crap you talk. Because I'll say funny shit or stuff. Can I say shit?
You can say shit. You can shit until you're blue in the face.
I'll say funny shit. That seems like I'm talking shit, but like, I don't know. Most of the time, I'm just trying to be entertaining. Like, I don't. If anybody knows me for real, I'm getting along with everybody. But when it gets to be real, it's kind of amateur if it's real. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well, and the thing is, too, is that everybody has different motivations for why they fight. You know, you have the hobbyist, you have someone with something to prove, you have people that have these rights that they're trying to defend, you have people that are, I mean, like, it's all walks of life that want to do this. Everyone's kind of got their own demons, and it's really like a sport of self-expression. You know, there's all this training, all this work, all this heart, all this emotion that goes into getting your hand raised for 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, there really is, it's such an internal, like, implosion of an expression of yourself to even want to be a fighter, period. It's definitely a breed of human that wants to do this. That's why everybody doesn't do it. You know, so for someone to naturally want to go in and just work hard and train hard and go out there and fight, you know, that's a completely different type of person than the one that has to go out there and run their mouth and go crazy and feel like they need to win it outside of the cage, you know, especially these days where everything's over the computer or everything's, you know, it's like the people that are willing to flip you off and cuss you out when they're in their car parked next to you, you know, but as soon as you're like, all right, get out, you know, nobody is willing to get out of their car. They just drive away. So it is a weird dynamic. It's a weird situation, and it's hard to read, especially when all you're focusing on is improvement, getting better as a competitor, and reaching your own personal goals. You know, it's kind of.
I like the way Shayna talks shit because she makes it hilarious. Like, it's so ridiculous. Yeah. It's like just so funny. You know, a light fever at weigh-ins. It's like
I try so hard to be a bad guy, but it just comes off as just ridiculous.
It's funny.
Well, no, like, even when we're sitting in the elevator in Kansas City, you know, it's a full elevator. It has my entire corner and friends, and Shayna and a few of her friends, and there is absolutely no room or space capacity in this elevator, and Shayna's sitting there trying to get somebody to come in and sit on her lap, you know, because we stop on the floor, and my coach is like, there's no room, and she's like, but I wanted him to sit on my lap, and he's like, there's no room for him to sit on your lap, and she's like, but what if I wanted him to sit on my lap? And it's just kind of like, fuck, dude, it's so hard to just fucking listen to this. It's just hilarious. You know, like, it's hard not to laugh. It's hard not to just eat it up and have the energy, like, influence you and make you feel good. You know, it's crazy. It's funny. Shayna, I like the way Shayna talks. You know, I do. I just don't like when people start getting personal and try to hurt your feelings or hurt you as an individual. That's just setting up punishment, you know.
Have you guys ever had anybody try to set you up and pit you against one another? Have you guys ever had that happen? Have you ever had someone try to set you up and pit you guys against one another and, you know, try just to get some crap started amongst you all? Because you guys seem to have a really good rapport with one another. Do people try and do that to get you fired up? Has that ever happened?
I don't know. People have gotten, I don't know, especially lately, you know, people are like, oh, you and Jessica Penne should fight. And I'm like, dude, there's so many girls ahead of me, like, ranked higher than me that deserve it more than I do. I need to work my way up there, you know?
Well, and the thing about that, too, is people are, I mean, especially with women's fighting, I think people are still so uneducated. You know, I was in a salon the other day. I was getting my hair done, and this guy's like, so what are you going to do when you have to go against, like, really tough girls? And I was just like, Why even say that? You know, like, I am one of those tough girls, damn it, you know, but you don't want to, like, float your boat, you know, you don't want to be sitting there talking about, you know, it's hard to sit and talk about yourself. It's hard to sit and say, well, you know, they have to fight me, you know, like, or I have to fight them. Like, it's hard when people ask you questions like that and they try to pin you up against each other. It's just, especially when that's definitely not a fight that's up until, you know, down the road. It just is like, it's really hard to answer people, and it's almost, it comes from a place of ignorance. They just really are uneducated on the whole, like, function and purpose of how this sport is evolving for women.
Wait, have you ever gotten the, would you ever fight Gina, ex Julia Budd, because you're in her week?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, I forgot Julia Budd's in here.
She's still here, right?
I forgot. I just forgot. That's all. I'm drunk. Nobody listened to me.
I know she wasn't here. She wasn't here just a second ago. We were talking about her abs.
Is Jessica Penne still in here?
Yeah, she's the one that's speaking. She's very educated when she speaks.
Oh, she's
you
a
can
smart
tell she
one.
went to college. Yes.
Not that the rest of you aren't smart. Ah, crap. I better stop this drinking nonsense.
So, who's Julia? Okay, where's Julia?
Yeah, where is she? I want to
No,
talk about her awesome physique.
actually, I just got the phone, or not the phone, but she just texted me. She has a cell phone issue and she had to get back to work, so unfortunately we lost her. But we really appreciate her stopping by. I was going to ask her about the Gina Carano Muay Thai type stuff, but unfortunately she's not with us. And actually we lost Jessica as well. I'm trying to get her back on in just a second. So I'm going to work on that. So let me ask you guys real quick while I work on that. We talked to Nicdali last week about it. What are your guys' thoughts? I mean, guys don't have to go through it as far as, you know, none of you guys are hard to look at. Does it bother you that when people focus on your looks as opposed to your fighting skill, or you know, how do you approach that?
I love it. I'm just being honest with you. I bust my ass in the gym and work hard every day. Why wouldn't I want to show that shit off?
Right.
You are just being real.
Body, you know, yeah, that's the thing, is you work your ass, like, you work hard for your body, and it's really, like, it's cool because your body is a byproduct of how hard you work. You know, it's just all of a sudden you're noticing, damn, look at my abs, damn, look at my arms, look at this, look at that. Like, everything is working out, and I'm a tough son of a bitch. And, you know, like, you can't help but be proud of it. But at the same time, like, to be up for criticism kind of sucks. You know, to have people critique you, you know, and or your opponent, you know, and they're completely uneducated on fights. They're completely uneducated on what's going on. I mean, somebody quoted on my fight, you know, clinch fighting is boring. It's like, well, cool, at least you didn't say we're ugly, you know, or whatever the regular comment is. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like...
Is that you, Miss Jessica? They just said that?
No, it's Kat. This is Kat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't listening, Kat. So, Kat, is your weigh-in attire, is that pre-planned?
You know what? Like I said, and like you guys were asking me before, I've cut to 125 for a really long time, and I've needed every damn ounce of clothing to not be on for me to make 125. And, you know, the fact that I'm well-traveled, I mean, you go anywhere, you go to Europe, you go to Thailand, you go to Brazil, you go Asia, like, it really, they are scantily clad. They're wearing their thongs at the beaches. The men are all in Speedos. You know, America is really, like, kind of one of the only places everybody is just flipping out about needing to have board shorts and covering everything up because of this or that. Like, I wear what I wear because, one, I like my swimsuit that I bought in Thailand, and two, I usually need every damn ounce that I can get off so I can make weight. And
so,
I mean,
so
yeah,
Shayna, when are we going to see you in a Brazilian bikini?
Oh, yeah, that was a Brazilian bikini. That wasn't my Thailand bikini. I'm sorry. But yeah. Oh, did you say Shayna?
Yeah.
Yeah, Shayna wasn't ready.
The world isn't ready for the awesomeness that would be that.
We just need to spike her Pedialyte.
Yeah.
Saki.
Hey, Kat, I want to ask you, you know, you're kind of... Kat, you're 7-0. You're kind of being... I see your name linked with Ronda Rousey a lot. Thoughts on that? Something you'd like to pursue in the future?
Yeah, you know, like stylistically, I think we're both really aggressive. I think we're both really funky. I think she's explosive and she's passive and she's very patient. And I think I've heard the exact same definition of me thousands of times, you know. So, you know, I'm never going to say I'm not afraid of anything because that would make you stupid. I am afraid of a lot of things, and fights make me very nervous and very scared, and I go through hell getting ready for these training camps. And, you know, Raquel Pennington was not different. You know, I had my set of nerves set for this girl, too, that made me feel like throwing up and crying, too. You know, every fight I have, I consider what they have and what I have for what I know of them, you know. I've watched Ronda fight a couple of times and she gets her arm bars. But, you know, I have a lot up my sleeve, too, and I've been doing jiu-jitsu a long time, and I've accomplished a lot with it, too. So stylistically, I'm excited to see what is going to happen. You know, I feel like it's going to be kind of like a tangle of arms and limbs, and it just being this massive disaster of somebody getting submitted somehow pretty quick, you know. But I'm really looking forward to it. I kind of think she got shot to the top really fast without having to work as hard as some of the other girls had to for that title. But I'm not going to take it away from her. She's held it, and she's done a good job, and she gets attention, and she's, you know, helping the sport grow, so we got to give her credit for that. But, you know, that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to. I hear about a lot, and is really, you know, Gina Carano was the thing before to want to beat. Okay, Gina's not around anymore. Now Ronda Rousey is the big name and the person to beat. Okay, so if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And I really find this challenge something intriguing, and I think I have a little ways to go as far as learning some different things as far as being more rounded. But I think she does too. So when that day and time comes, you know, I know I'll be ready. I hope she's ready, and I'm excited for that opportunity.
Right. Hey, Tecia, I had a question for you. You know, you're kind of on the opposite end there. You're just starting off, but you know, it was your pro debut. You were fighting a girl, Kayana Rain, who was her debut as well, but she's a lot, you know, a big age difference. How did you approach that? Were you worried about her having experience edge on you, even though it was her pro debut as well?
Worried about her having experience over me, did you say?
Yeah, for Tecia. Well, because, I mean, for both of your pro debuts, I understand that, but, you know, you had, I believe, a 16-year age difference in there. Was that something that you had were you worried about?
Oh, no, not at all. She's a very athletic woman, so I wasn't worried about that. I knew she was going to come in there in great shape, but I think throughout the end of the fight, I was able to wear her down, and I don't know if it was an age difference or it was just, you know, my ability with my striking to, slow her down a little bit. But no, I think she was great.
How does working
You were
at
a lot
American...
more agile, in my opinion, than she was, and I think you were a lot more explosive and powerful. Not taking away anything from her, she's very tough. She obviously brought it, you know, but that's just my opinion.
Tecia Torres has just had luck on her side because she hung out with me during the week, so passed on good karma.
She rubbed your belly?
I only have a Buddha belly now. That week I didn't. I was making weight and stuff.
You got your belly over there and you stopped drinking, bad girl.
But just this week.
Boo.
Now what's happening?
I know. I have no idea. I'm lost in the sauce.
Yeah, there was weird, awkward silence. Like, we were all like, okay.
I know. I was waiting for Alex to chime back in there, but whatever. Well, look, we got this, ladies. But, okay, my next question. Earlier you guys said that, you know, there's a transition from being just a student and then going to, you know, the kick-ass fighter. At what point do you have that moment to where, you know, like now I'm freaking kick-ass. I'm not the student anymore. When does that aha moment happen for you?
In my opinion, you're always a student. You're always learning. And whenever you quit learning, that's when you're going to get your ass beat bad.
I agree. I think as soon as you stop trying to improve and you think you're good enough, everything's good enough, this is good enough, that's good enough, I think is when you're going to fail.
You know, except for Shayna, because, you know, she's, you know, a god in MMA.
I think you should always be a student, but there has to be that edge to you to be successful at fighting. Like, no matter how technical and the technique and then how scientific your strength and conditioning is, and you measure your heart rate, plug in these formulas and all this, there still has to be that side of you that's like, I don't give a fuck, it's a fight. There still has to be like that street in you, you know what I'm saying? So I think, hey guys, you have to have both, I think.
I want to cut back in here. We're welcomed back by Jessica Penne's back with us. Sorry about that, Jessica. We lost you there for a moment. Jessica, I had a question for you, though. You know, I guess it's not, you know, I'm really good at putting my foot in my mouth here with the girls. I did it last week with Nicdali and then with Shayna earlier. But you're huge for 105. Tell us about that cut.
You dick.
Well, it's fighting, so I don't know. I guess I can ask it. But tell us about that, because you looked a lot larger than Sugiyama was. So tell us about making a cut down to 105.
It's easy. I'm tall, but I'm not a big person. I have small bones. And I'm very disciplined and dedicated, and I prepare very well, so it's a very easy cut for me.
Yeah, but you even seem like you know, even, you know, there's a huge height difference, but, you know, just your whole frame seems thicker than hers. And then I feel terrible saying it's a woman.
You really thick? Come on, man.
Well, obviously not due to your 105 pounds. She's a big
demo.
Yeah, just really surprised.
Take him in his face.
What do you walk around at, if you mind me asking there, since I'm already burying myself?
None of your business.
How about none yet?
Good answer.
None yet.
Don't ask the lady her weight after you tell her she's sick. Come on. I can tell you, I don't walk around at 105. I'm only 105 for like an hour.
Well, the one thing that was really obvious was, you know, it was really emotional to you when you won the belt. Tell us about that. You know, what it felt like to become the first champion.
It's just now kind of hitting me. Like, up until that point, it was just, you know, trying to prepare for a very tough opponent in Sugiyama and just trying to stay focused on the fight, really. I didn't really think of it as a title fight, just that I had to fight 5 rounds, and that was a task in itself. And, you know, I didn't think about it until after I sealed up the triangle and I got out of it, and then I was just like, oh crap, that belt's mine. But up until that point, like, I didn't look at it like that.
Do you think it's a huge disadvantage for the Japanese girls coming over here to fight? You know, obviously they fight with a little bit different rules, that kind of thing. You know, apparently from what I've read, they don't really cut weight the same as you know, the American girls or I guess the non-Japanese girls do. What do you think it's like for them fighting in, you know, stateside?
I don't know. I mean, I've fought in Japan before, and it was a really long trip, and I had to cut weight, you know, at 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, the day before weigh-ins, and fight in an organization that I really didn't know the rules for. So, I mean, I assume it's kind of a whirlwind, and it's a little bit scary and intimidating.
So now you're the first 105 champion of atom weight. You know, Nicdali said it, that it seems like they're really getting behind the division. You know, who do you think's next for you in the future there? Who would you like to fight? Who do you think they'll give you next?
I don't know who they're going to give me next, but I mean, I welcome all challengers. I've just always wanted to be consistent ever since I started, and you know, 1 or 2 fights a year is just not enough to, you know, to improve, and you know, it's not enough for the amount of time and work that I put into this sport. So I just want to be consistent, and at 105 I feel very comfortable. I think it's a good fit for me. I've always fought outside my weight class, so I just want to fight. Like, I don't really care who it is. I just want to fight, and I want to fight in my weight class.
Yeah.
And it's possible.
Nicdali, what are your opinions on the 105 division and how it's shaping up, and as far as Jessica's a champion?
I would like to see a rematch between Lisa and her, just because it was amazing the first time, and I saw today that she announced that she was pregnant, so that puts her out for at least a year. So I don't know. Whoever they say is a top contender for Jessica to fight, whatever, And whatever's next for me, whoever they say.
So for all of you guys, basically, start with you, Jessica. What do you think about Invicta Fights as far as, because, here's the thing. When it first started, it was kind of all about Gina, and, guys would kind of check in because, oh, she's hot, let's do fighting. And it's kind of evolved, and the one thing I like about Invicta, and I know King Mo pretty well. I'm friendly with him. He trains with Jeff Mayweather I work with, so I tuned in actually just to watch him for the first card, and I was amazed how good the show was. They made huge strides for the third one, no problem to live stream, that kind of thing. The fights were all incredible. So what are your thoughts as far as where Invicta's going in the future, and what kind of what they're doing with the females?
I think that Invicta is exactly what women's MMA needed. I mean, they really needed somebody to get behind the sport and really genuinely believe in the progression of it and the athletes in it. And I think that women's MMA would not be successful with just, one figurehead on one show. It's just, it doesn't do justice to all the women that train hard every single day and fight on undercards and never get seen. It's just, Invicta really needed to happen, and it needed to happen at this time. It was just really good timing for it to happen, and it's about time that the girls that train and fight in this sport get some recognition, and they get on a platform and, are seen for, I think they're great, and I think they're super supportive, and there are great women behind it, and I think that no other organization would do as well, because I don't know, they kind of treated females as like a novelty, or just, just put them on.
Go ahead, whoever that was jumped in there.
Jessica Penne is the brainy one of us, so I'm just trying to piggyback off her so I sound intelligent too. So I was behind her in the visual of this. I was behind her yeah, totally.
Are you guys all surprised? I know you're all confident in your abilities as fighters, and but are you surprised at all that female fighting has, as strictly as, its own entity, not having men on the card? Are you surprised that Invicta's taken off like it has to this point?
Not at all. Because, the women's fights are exciting. We don't fill each other out. We freaking fight.
Well, the only thing that's surprising to me, this is Kat, is that there are still haters at this point. My Muay Thai coach, Sakwan Cole, he's a Muay Thai legend from Thailand. He's a 5-time world champion. And when he had me and him cornered Randy Miller for Invicta 1, he was like, we're going to an all-female fighting card? What? He'd never cornered a girl, period, other than me, And to have an entire fighting card of women, he was just kind of like, what am I doing with my weekend? Seriously? And we got out there, and from the first fight to the last fight, he just had his, hand over his mouth, eyes wide as Oreos, just oh my God, just in his broken English, just completely astonished and amazed by the talent and the technique that was going into this. He couldn't handle himself, the fact that all these women were so good and talented and that these fights were so good. It was crazy to watch him break from this, what am I doing here this weekend? These are all girls and they're fighting, great, this should be cute, to this, holy shit, this is something completely not what I thought it was. And it's not about, oh, damn, this poor thing got a cut over here and they're, we're going to coddle her and end it and stop it or whatever. It was oh, damn, this is the guys, but almost even better because they're, vicious and the intensity is different and the center of gravity is different and everything about it was different to him. It was amazing to see someone so like old school, set in his ways, look at this sport and just be so damn impressed. You know, and the thing that surprises me is the people that are just like not behind it, because it's like, what's the difference? Like, the technique is there. Yeah, people are smaller, but you see the smaller fights of some of the guys, and sometimes it's just like a headache watching them fling around the cage, and you can't keep up, and there's so much movement and there's so much motion. But you even see these girls at 105, and it's just like, nah, that was dope. That was good technique. That was crazy. That just hurt. That just hurt her back. Oh, that was a good triangle. That was a good setup. Like, that was everything. Like, you see so much in these fights that you're just like impressed by. You know, to have anybody have a problem with the evolution of this sport, you know, it's just like, how do you feel this way right now? Like, there's nothing but proof in the pudding right there. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy, and everybody I know that has tuned in to watch Invicta, even if it's just to watch one fight or because they heard of this girl or that girl or whatever, like, they're fans for life now. You know, just because they saw a clip or a moment or something that impressed them. You know, it's odd to me that there's any problem or anything that's keeping it from getting bigger than it is already. You know, and the improvement is every show is epic.
Yeah, totally what she said.
Well said.
Dot.
All right, no worries. Okay, so who do we still have on with us? I know I heard Kat. I know I definitely heard Shayna. Is Julia there?
Oh, Julia left a while ago.
She's gone. Was that Jessica? Jessica's here.
I'm here.
Right on. Okay. Who else do we have on? Just you three?
I'm here too, Tecia, but I have to get off soon because it's late here in Florida.
Tecia, you're a lot more talkative. Just don't talk so much. You're talking way too much and stealing the show
I'm having
from all
fun
of us.
listening to you girls. You girls are awesome.
Okay, so how often are you all exposed to one another? Because like just listening to you all banter back and forth over the, you know, on the show, it seems that you guys have a really good rapport established with one another. How often are you, you know, around one another or exposed to one another?
I'd say very infrequently.
I don't ever see any of these girls ever.
Yeah, no, yeah. I know Jessica Penne. She trains out of Black House in L.A., and that is an affiliation of my school in Colorado, Zingano BJJ. Like, I hear of her, you know, like Ed Suarez, the people that she trains with, those are all actually really good family friends of mine. So it's like, you know, I'm constantly getting invited out there, or like, hey, you guys should go train. And I'm like, man, I'm kind of fat and she's kind of little, you know. So like,
no,
on
Nathan
that level,
and Ed
I hear.
call me.
Oh yeah, like I always hear of her and think of her and think, man, okay, this would be a good girl for us to put our hands on each other, because I don't have any female training partners, period. I have a few that I get to train with, but they're not competitors, so you know it does have its limitations and it's, you know, whatever. But you know, I do know that, you know, we're sister schools, and at some point we will be in the same room training and probably together. However, other than that, like I really have little connection with just physical connection with any female fighters. Barbara Honchek is somebody that I'm often in touch with. You know, she's a past opponent of mine and a good friend and an awesome training partner. And that is really about it. I know Lynn Alvarez personally. She came to my, we fought on a card together, my second fight, and one of her third fights, I think, and we both won and kind of had a connection then, and stayed in touch and stayed friends. Same with Carla Esparza. We both have this, like, we were ex-wrestlers things, woohoo, you know, so, you know, I talk to her and I'm excited when I see her, but for the most part, like, there really is no, like, nobody keeps touch. It's just, you know, I'll see you when I see you, and when I do, we'll hug it out. But You know, it's really kind of a very much an individual sport, you know, and I think we just kind of, the group that you have at your fingertips at the moment is, you know, pretty good at maintaining, keeping it classy. None of us are a bunch of assholes, all intentionally. You know, we all just are here to do work and enjoy the fruits of our labor. So.
And that was one of the things that I picked up on speaking to all of you all, is that you guys are so humble. I mean, of course, when you start talking about your bodies and your training, you know, then you know, a little swag, a little swagger came out there. But for the most part, you guys are so freaking humble, and you do, like you said, you keep it classy, and that's amazing, because I did not expect that. You know, especially getting all of you all on the phone all at once. I didn't expect that at all, and so that's amazing, and definitely kudos to all of you all. Now, earlier you said that you don't train with, or you don't have any train with any females at all. Do all of you guys, in order for you to kick ass like you do all of you all train with guys?
No. I think if you want to train serious, that's kind of how it is. Just because of the lack of females there are in it, you're not going to find consistent training with girls. There's just not enough of us right now. So. That's just the way it is. We train all the time. There's more guys than girls. You know, all of us are probably the only one or two at our gyms, girls that are worth a darn training with, you know. So it's going to be guys most of the time, all the time, when you're training every day, 2-a-days, whatever. Hey, I said something intelligent while I was drunk, you guys. Wait, was that intelligent?
Yeah, you did it. Very well spoken.
You guys sound behind me like, yeah, what?
Yeah. I don't even think you got bleeped out once.
She did. She sounded all official, like she sobered up really quick. I'm like, what the hell? What was that? Right on. Okay, so with training with guys, do you feel like, you know, you can really let yourself go and then just go all out when you're training, or do you feel like when you're training with females, do you have to kind of hold back just a little bit? What is it, a huge difference there?
Yes and yes. With guys, to me, it is an opportunity to be able to go hard, because, you know, they're not going to ever be happy about losing to a girl or having a bad day against a girl, or, I mean, they're really just not. It doesn't matter who they are, if they're your best friend or not. You know, when it comes down to balls to the wall, you know, not having balls. But, you know, when you're out there scrapping and you're going hard, like they really are going as hard as they can to maintain being above you. Whether that means they're taking it easy on you or not, you know, that's a different thing. But, you know, having guy training partners, you know, you also have this urgency to be needed in the room. Like Jose Aldo, God, who else came up to our school? Diego Nunes, a bunch of the Brazilian teams from Black House, or Brazilian guys from Black House came up to our school to train for a bit. And, you know, it was like, you know, I need to make sure that I belong in this room with them. You know, I need to make sure that I put up a good enough fight that they don't have to go easy because it's time for the girl to jump in, or now it's time for it's me versus Kat. The rotation is up. Okay, now I gotta like hold back. Now I gotta make sure I don't throw with everything. Now I gotta make sure I take care of her. Like, I don't want people looking at me like that. I want people to be like, okay, it's still on, and this is a fucking, you know, this is a battle. This girl isn't gonna stop. And if I don't want to go home, you know, thinking about how good my day was except for against this girl, you know, I still want, you know, they still need to go crazy. They still need to go hard. They still need to maintain their work ethic for the day, you know. So it is, to me, really beneficial to be able to work with these guys, and especially, you know, the higher level guys, and be able to maintain that, like, validity in the room. It does get hard training with girls because a lot of times girls that don't compete, especially at the higher levels, they're saying, you know, if they get you good once, you know, all of a sudden they're like, oh, sorry, you know, and then it's like, back to the estrogen. It's back to, no, don't say sorry. Let's just keep going. Just work through it. Or they hit you and you get them back, and then all of a sudden they're wincing a little bit, or they're limping, or where you kind of have to pay attention to, okay, are they going to come back tomorrow? If we go hard today, am I going to have them in another week? I need someone this size. I need somebody this agile. I need somebody with this motivation and this intensity and this center of gravity and this flexibility. If I go the way that I need to go in preparation for what I'm about to do, am I still going to have a training partner at the end of this?
Yeah.
At my school, yes and no. I will, but sometimes not. Sometimes it's, I'll notice they're there for a few days and then they just, start disappearing, and it's like, I can't, especially while I'm in a training camp, consider what they're going through when I'm, going to war, when it, so to speak. When you look at an MMA fight, it's kind of like you're two people left in a forest, and there's one piece of food left, and only one of you is going to get that piece of food.
That's right.
You need to figure out who's going to get that piece of food, and the only way that that's going to happen is one of you is going to live and one of you is going to die. So to get into that place and to not have any sorries, any are you okay, any coddling, any of this or that, especially with your teammates, people that you care about and you're emotionally attached to, it does make it hard with a lot of girls. And with guys, you don't get that. You can say sorry a couple times, they can say sorry a couple times, and then you both know it's on. With girls,
ladies,
especially girls that don't compete at that level, it's, you kind of got to slow it down.
Ladies, we went way over time here. I appreciate you guys coming on. It's awesome having you. We'll go around real quick and everybody give the social media and that kind of stuff and where folks can follow you. We're going to have Ken Shamrock on here in just one moment. So let's start with the champ, Jessica. Where can folks keep up with you?
My full name, Jessica Penne, Twitter.
All right, well, thanks so much and congratulations, Jessica, and we look forward to seeing you in the future, okay?
Good job, Jessica.
Good night, guys. Everyone did awesome. It was really awesome getting to see your guys' fights.
All right. Tecia, what about you? Where can the folks keep up with you?
The same, Tecia Torres on Twitter and TeciaTorres.com.
All right, congratulations on your win. It was great to see you in there, and hopefully got many more wins to come for you.
Thank you. It was great meeting you guys at Invicta. I look up to you guys, and thank you for making the sport, headlining the sport so people like me could come in and make way as well.
Great, thanks.
Right on. It was great having you guys on. Nice talking to you, and I hit all of you guys up on Twitter, so we got to stay in touch so we can do this again with the ladies.
All right, and Shayna, you stuck the whole show out. Congratulations there. Tell them where they can follow you.
I think more because I was too lazy to tell you I needed to go. On Twitter, I'm QOS Baszler, and same thing on Facebook, my fan page, facebook.com/QOS Baszler.
All right, last but not least, Kat Zingano. Thanks for joining us, and where can the folks keep up with you?
For sure. Twitter is at Kat Zingano. My Facebook page is Kat Zingano MMA Fighter, and KatZinganoMMA.com, and also ZinganoBJJ.com.
All right, thanks so much. And like I said, appreciate all you ladies stopping by. Congratulations, each and every one of you. We had 6 of the 14 winners from the Invicta card. It was awesome having all of you on there, and we look forward to much success in the future. So thanks so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, next we're joined by one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time. Honored to have him on the show. We appreciate it. Ken Shamrock, welcome to Pro MMA Insider, buddy.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me, man, and I appreciate that opening there. Greatest fighter of all time. Wow! Thank you.
Well, you're joined here.
We can separate the two. We can actually say the greatest NHB of all time, but, MMA is a little bit more commercial now.
Well, Ken, we're joined here. Before we get into anything, Ken, we're joined here by Carla J.
Hey, Ken, how's it going?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing fine, and you?
Loving life, the only way to live it.
I want you to remember, Ken, back about 10 years ago or so in San Diego. Carla Carla says she knows you.
Okay, well, check this out. About 10 years ago in San Diego, there was probably a lot of nights that I don't remember, so please don't hold that against me, but I'm sure it was great.
Shayna, are you still on?
No, it's Kat, and you're welcome to stay on. Kat, you going to join us for the rest of the show?
I didn't know if I'm the only girl still hanging out, you know?
You're more than welcome to stay with us. You're on with Ken Shamrock and the rest of us.
Absolutely, stay on.
Yeah,
more the merrier.
So, Carla, give us a rundown. See if Ken remembers it, even though maybe it was one of the nights he does remember.
It could have been one of the nights that he didn't remember, but we...
So I have your baby.
You know?
One of the nights...
And you know what? Someone said that earlier. How old is your daughter? And I'm like, oh, my gosh, shut up.
Which one? Which one? The real one or the fake one?
No, we just had a fun night hanging out in the Gaslamp District at Blue Tattoo. I had on a really... What'd you say?
I said already I know that was bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and that was it. And then I've had some, times where I had gone, to the Lion's Den to watch you guys train and, different things like that. And that was it. Nothing else. We don't have a love child or anything like that. So it's all good.
Okay, well, that's good to hear.
You were sweating for a second there, huh?
No, trust me, I know better than that. I always have a good time, but I would never, ever not know whether I had a love child or not.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that.
No. But listen, San Diego was some good times, and then the training times there, some of the guys that I brought up through those times, some real studs, some real good fighters at that time. And if you remember back in those days, it was NHB. And there was really no other schools in San Diego except the Lions Den. Now you look at it, they're on every corner.
Mhm. That's true. That's all that there was the Lions Den back then. And everybody used to go and congregate and, this and that. So I definitely remember that. I was a huge fan. But now, I'm sort of transitioned to boxing, but I'm sort of, kind of dabbling, back into and getting into MMA and different things like that, but I was a huge UFC fan back then. And a fan of the Lions, of course.
I love boxing, that's, when I was over in Japan, I was fighting over there. The first thing I learned was Muay Thai, right? So I learned how to kick and punch, but then when I got back to the States, I worked with some guys from boxing, and I'll tell you what, man, the technique, the skill, and the angles and stuff that you learn from that is just beautiful. It's like dancing, and when you get that down, man, it is such a beautiful thing to watch.
Hey, Frank, tell us a little about what's going on with you right now. I want to go back and work our way forward, but, what do you got going on right now? You haven't been in McCage in a while, so.
Did he just say Frank or Kent?
He said Frank.
But I want to say this. I'm not confusing you with Frank Shamrock. I'm confusing with Frank Stea, our other co-host. I've been saying Frank and all day wrong. So.
Ken, I'm here, Ken. There is a Frank on the line.
I just want to make it really clear. I'm the bigger one.
Well, Ken, I'm actually at the age. So I saw you growing up. I actually wasn't following the UFC when Frank did his thing, so I'm much more familiar with you from the early days of going and renting the VCRs and watching the first few UFC. So I would never confuse you with the other Shamrock.
Well, that's the original, man, and I tell you, people, we talked about earlier in the show about NHB and MMA, and that's truly you talk to any of the guys in the very first fights, and when people start mentioning MMA, the first thing that most of them will probably say is like, that's not what it is. It's NHB. It's not MMA. People put that name on there to pretty it up or do whatever they wanted to do to it, but it's NHB, no holds barred. That's where it came from. That's how it originated, and that's what it is.
How was it for you when you first started? You were doing pancreas and all that kind of thing, and then you did UFC. How hard is it to train for something and all of a sudden doesn't have rules like you did, when you're doing the other fights? Is it hard
No, it was actually pretty simple because, like, when I was over in Japan, it was open hand strikes, and we wore knee pads and shin guards, and, we really on the ground, it was all submissions. We moved more for submissions. Stand-up was open hand, kicks, punches, and throws. But, there was really 15 minutes or 30 minutes, there was no rounds or anything. So that's a pretty good time, pretty long time to go. And you could grab the rope for escapes and stuff, if I got a submission hold. So, the biggest difference, I think, when I went from Japan to NHB and the UFC was everything else I could deal with. The only thing that you really had to work on or really had to really understand the danger of was headbutts. Because at any place, anywhere, on the mat, standing up, you could get headbutts in the nose, in the chin, in the eye. So to me, that's the biggest thing you had to worry about when you made a transition from any other thing was those headbutts.
Well, and if you're fighting Keith Hackney, I think there's other things you had to worry about as well.
Yeah, well, especially when he was fighting Joe-san. About 30
Yeah,
shots.
that's exactly. Of course, we all felt sorry for Joe-san at the time, and I think nowadays we all, he got what he had coming. Maybe he deserved a little more than that.
Well, if you actually saw, the way he dressed in Japan with his pink tights and everything, I'm not sure he had balls. I'm not sure if he had to worry about nut shots.
Well, I actually didn't put him out. I was pretty surprised because I definitely would have been tapping out. One thing I'd read about. What's that?
I said now when he's just lifting his foot up and he's not screaming or yelling or anything, that kind of gave it away.
Right. Tell us a little about your fight. I talked to the girls about this earlier. You fought Oleg Taktarov, someone that you were close to. Difference between fighting someone like that and then fighting someone like Tito Ortiz, who you're not friendly with. Hard to focus with friends, or like Shayna Baszler was on. She said she actually gets nastier with her friends. So, what's the difference?
Well, I think the hardest part with that was that, I had actually taken Oleg Taktarov in. He was in Dallas training with Guy Mazur, and they worked with him, and Oleg had struggled a little bit. Well, then he had an opportunity to fight in this tournament, and I was obviously fighting for the super fight title. And so I brought Oleg into my training camp, and I worked with him, and I trained with him to, get him over the hump so, he would win this tournament. Well, I ended up fighting Severn. I choked him out in a minute and 47 seconds. And then right after my fight, I went and worked Oleg's corner because he had just won his first 2 fights, and now he was in the finals with Tank Abbott. And I remember I was working his corner, and I kept screaming at him, don't quit, don't give up, keep fighting, because they were both exhausted. And then he finally ended up choking Tank out, and he won the title. Well, after he had won the title, he had started mentioning something about, fighting for the super fight title. And I looked at him and I said, dude, I'm the champion. I got the title. And he looked at me and he goes, well, yeah, but maybe we can work something out where, you do this and that. And I looked at him and I said, listen, Oleg, you got 2 things. One, you can either move on, fight in Japan, or go do something else. Or 2, if you get in the ring with me, I'm going to hurt you. And so the whole time I kicked him out of my gym because he took the fight, and I told him not to do that before we fought, that he wouldn't take that fight. One, he knew I could whip his ass anyways, but the problem was I had these guys going over to Japan, and I would send them over there. They would make some money, and then part of those fees would come back into the Lions' Den. So this was a business for me. And so when he took the fight, I thought to myself, how do I protect my interest here? How do I protect, this business venture I have? So if you watch the fight, and it's very clear, you'll see it very clearly, was that I had an opportunity to tap him out with a leg lock, an arm bar, or a choke. But I knew if I got him in one of these submission holds that he wouldn't tap, and then I would break something, and then he would be out of fighting for 6 months or a year, and I would lose money. So what I did do, and you watched the fight, is I said, you know what, I'll knock him out. I figure if I knock him out, at least he'll be able to come back a couple months later. I'll send him to Japan, he'll make some money, and he'll be okay. So that was my whole game plan when I fought him, was to knock him out. Well, the guy had harder hit than a rock. And I remember I knocked him out 2 or 3 different times where his eyes would go back into his head, and then he came back to again. So, the next morning, and I don't know if anybody's ever saw a picture, but the next morning, this guy looked like the Elephant Man. His eyes were swollen shut. His head was bigger than his butt. I mean, he looked bad. I thought he was watching dead. And but hey, you know what? My plan worked because like 2 months later, I sent him to Japan to fight over in Japan in the circuit over there because I booked him over there and he was under contract with me. So my plan worked, but I thought I'd be able to finish him a little bit earlier. But he had a rock, man.
What was it like in those early UFC days? You know, I mean, now it's kind of so corporate. Everyone has all these huge gyms. But, you know, back in the early days, and the one thing I kind of miss, you know, is this is before everyone was, you know, a hybrid and training everything. It was so cool having everybody come in. Okay, this guy's a wrestler, this guy's a ninjutsu guy, and this guy's a, you know, taekwondo. You know, what was it like backstage with you guys? You know, was it all, you know, real competitive as far as the arts go and what your particular strength was?
It was different, you know. I mean, like now, it really is. It's a business, and you got to be careful. Your managers got to take care of your fighters because there's so many good fighters out there. And you know, and let's face it, this is a business. These guys are fighting for a career in a way to take care of their family years down the road. And so, like when I fought, you took on whoever they put in front of you. It could have been that night they would change the fight, but you still fought them. You could be going into the next round, and the guy that you're supposed to fight breaks his hand, so they put in a fresh guy. I mean, you could bitch and complain about that, but you know what? In those days, you fought who they put in front of you. You didn't care who it was. Nowadays, it's a business, and these guys are too good to be just fighting somebody they throw in on you. And I remember just not too long ago, Jones, where he was gonna fight Chael Sonnen, and I remember his manager said, you know, that's a bad idea, and I agreed with it 100%. I know he took a lot of flack for that, but this is a business today, and if you plan on having any success in your career, obviously you take the number 1 contender or the number 2 contender. If that's who they booked you to fight, you fight that fight. But if that guy happens to get hurt and he can't continue on, and they throw in somebody like a Chael Sonnen or somebody on top of that, and you're not ready for that fight, you haven't practiced for that particular fighter, and you're going to take that on short notice, one, it's bad business for the company, for Dana White to even do something like that, and then put his champion down, and then on top of it, for Chael Sonnen to have that opportunity when he hasn't even earned it. There's other guys out there who were in line for that shot that they could have put in there that would have been a better fight for Jones. You know, he took a guy who I thought was probably much dangerous than Chael, which, you know, he based, you know, quick work of him. But, you know, it is different than it was before. You took on whoever was out there. You didn't care who they put in against you, and you did your job. But today, it's different. And I thought it was real untasteful for not only some of the fans, but for a businessman, Dana White, to put down a guy who was their champion and who has showed so much class in his fighting, and he is so good in what he does, to put him down because his manager tells him, listen, that's not the fight we trained for.
Yeah, it's kind of strange with Dana White. I mean, obviously you've had your ups and downs with him. It seems to me almost like he's worried about anyone besides himself being the face or the star of the UFC. I mean, did you find in your dealings with him, like he's kind of, you know, really obsessed with making sure that, you know, he's the number 1 star in the whole organization?
Dana White, and I think it happens to everybody. You know, I got caught up in it, and I know other guys get caught up in it. You know, when you have money, that's good, right? And you can get caught up in that. But when you have power and everybody, you know, you have control over a lot of people, and they need your word to be able to have a career. That's a lot of power for one person to have. And I think sometimes when you get to that position, you forget that you don't have a right to put people down. You don't have a right to control people's future. You're only there for one reason only, and that's to try and promote the best fights you can. And it's not about putting your opinion in on a fighter or this or that. You know, you stick to what you do. Dana White has gotten into a position where he believes that he is bigger than the UFC. He wants to be the guy. When you say UFC, you say Dana White. Dana White challenged Tito Ortiz to a fight one time. I mean, what if Dana White would have fought Tito, and he would have beat Tito in a boxing match. Okay, let me say this. You were trying to make money for your business and your company. Why in the hell would you jeopardize beating one of your stars who was drawing you big-time pay-per-view numbers, other than your ego on him?
Going back, something that, like I said, I love the old UFC stuff. We've had Art Jimerson on. We've had Fred Edish on. Going back to the early UFC, you lost your first fight with Royce Gracie. Second fight was at UFC 5, right, I believe. Tell us about that. It got declared a draw. Obviously they didn't have judges back in the day. If there were, you would have won. How aggravating was that you, because I know you wanted the revenge, that you weren't able to get it because it went to a time limit?
Well, back, in the very first one, I really, just as we were talking about a little bit earlier, being cocky, I was over in Japan. I was the first foreigner ever to capture a title in Japan. I felt really good. I came into this fight. I remember watching Royce Gracie a little bit with arm bars, different things like that. And then, to me, it looked like a guy rolling around in pajamas. I didn't give him any respect. And so, by doing that, I ended up getting caught in a choke. And I remember myself at the cocktail party, and I remember saying to myself and the people that were with me, I said, that will never happen again. I was so angry at myself for not being prepared, for not taking it serious. And so I said to myself, I promise you that will never happen to me again. And I remember it took me a while because I broke my hand. I was trying to make a comeback on that. I broke my hand, so it pushed me back a little bit. But all the same, I was fighting over in Japan at the same time. I remember I got in there against Royce Gracie the second time, and we never got to fight. I ended up, I tore my ACL, not tore my ACL, but my meniscus, and I frayed my ACL, and I remember shooting it up, and I fought anyways. And then when the Royce dropped out after chemo put a beating on him, Royce still won, but Royce couldn't come out and fight again. Well, I ended up choosing not to go in there and fight, even though I probably would have won that hands down, but to me, the risk of blowing my knee out was too high, but I would have done it if Royce was there. And so I remember going in and getting it cleaned up a little bit, and then I remember Bob Myers put together a fight called a super fight, where there would be no way that Royce could duck me. There would be no way that we wouldn't be able to meet each other, and we did that fight. And I trained for a 2-hour fight. I was willing to go 2 hours, and then I was going to submit him. The one thing they bragged about most was they were the best conditioned athletes in the world. Any place, anytime, anywhere, and it didn't matter how big they were. They could beat anybody. So I had a couple things I was going to prove. One, I was going to wear him out so bad that by the time, however long it took, which would probably been about an hour and 45 minutes, hour and a half, which I kind of figured it would take, that he wouldn't be able to lift his legs up, he wouldn't be able to lift his arms up, and then I would slap him around, and then I would tap him out. And I remember that was my game plan going into my training, and that's what I did. I trained for a 2-hour fight. 3 days prior to that event, they go in the room and they sit us down and tell us they're going to put a time limit in. They're going to put a 30-minute time limit in. And I remember sitting there looking across the thing at Royce Gracie, and I was looking at him going, really? Seriously? I said, how does this work? I said, this is completely against everything that you guys believe in. And they said, well, it's just the TV and time and this and that, and they have to put these things in. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I did the fight, but I couldn't change my game plan. I mean, I had already trained for this. I was already locked and loaded. And so there's no way I could change what I had already worked for. So I went in there, and if you watch the fight real carefully, it wasn't anything big. It wasn't anything fast. It wasn't anything explosive. It was about working his body. It was about working his body, working his head, and working him so bad that if you look at it, they put another 2 extra time limits in there. It was supposed to be 30 minutes only, and Hoyt screamed out 3 more minutes. And I said, okay. And then after that 3 minutes, he screamed out 3 more minutes. And I remember Hoyt looking at his brother going, what? Because Hoyt was dead. I mean, he was literally dragging. And if we would have not had a time limit, I would have been able to prove every point in that fight, whereas he couldn't have gone with me at the distance, and I would have submitted him. And then all those myths that they had been screaming and yelling about like monkeys for so long, I would have put an end to it. But unfortunately, they put that time limit in there, and if you watch the fight, though, I was just short of making that happen.
Right. Now, do you think that, they had that whole thing, that no one could beat him, no one could beat jiu-jitsu and that kind of thing. Well, since Hoist and, if you want to say Hickson before that, they haven't really made the impact in MMA, in the last dozen years or so. Do you think that they've been too hard-headed as far as their overall reluctance to evolve and to incorporate other parts in their game? Because obviously jiu-jitsu alone doesn't cut it anymore.
Well, I don't think it's hard-headed. I just think, sports in itself is very, very difficult for anybody to rise to the top and be the best, especially when a sport has been around a long time and you have training methods, you have trainers, and, people start when they're 5 years old now. So it's difficult. There's guys out there who have been jiu-jitsu guys who have made it to the top and been champions, but to have the control and the power that, the Lions Den had at the time and that the jiu-jitsu, Gracie jiu-jitsu had at the time, it's very difficult for that to happen today. You may get one guy, and if lucky, two guys that would be in the top being able to win all the time at that level. Because the sport has developed so much that there's so many good fighters out there, it's hard to have, two guys in one team to be able to do that anymore. So it's not because they haven't developed, because I think that they're not stupid. I think they realize that they have to develop. And if you see what, Hoist did with Sakuraba the second time around, he worked on his striking, and then he got stronger, and he beat him the second time around. So I don't think it's because they're not developing. I just think it's because it's just now, instead of having 300 or 400 good fighters, now you got 3,000 or 4,000 good fighters.
Right. I want to talk to you a little bit about something that's near and dear to Frank's heart. I think he's still there. I see him on the switchboard. Frank, you still with us?
No, I'm here. I just had a few background noises going around. I had to mute myself.
No, Ken, I wanted to ask you about, so then you go over to WWE, you make a huge impact in the UFC, you became a star, to those of the United States who didn't know you. You go over there. Tell us about, the decision to go over there and what your experience was like over there, how they came to you with the character they wanted you to be and what you thought of that.
Well, back in in that time, it was Bob Myers and Semi-4 Entertainment Group, and they were the ones that brought this whole thing together and put it on pay-per-view, and it was doing really well. Well, then you got politics that got involved in boxing and commission and all that stuff, and so they came in there and they started trying to chop the knees out from Bob Meyerowitz. And Bob Meyerowitz was always in court in every city we went in. He was always in court trying to figure out why he was having so much problem to get this event up and off the ground. And a lot of it had to do with the politics in the commission, in the boxing commission. And so it was just eating him and draining him alive. So there came a time where, really he could not afford to keep doing this and paying the guys that were on top the money that they needed to be able to support their families. So I had an opportunity during that time. Bob Meyerowitz came to me and very professionally, said, listen, I'm running into some walls here, and I'm struggling with some of these things, and I just can't pay you the money that you need to support your family. And I said, well, Bob, I really appreciate that, but I've got to go and do something else until this thing gets fixed. And he was very polite and very respectful and very professional about it, and he allowed me to move forward to do something else. Well, during that time, I was able to get involved with wrestling and be able to showcase some of these moves that I had developed over the years into something that we call entertainment and pro wrestling. And so when I did that, I was able to go into wrestling and be able to develop this character in which Vince McMahon created for me, which was me, myself, and be able to go in there and actually showcase the world's most dangerous man, and it went really well. I was able to draw a lot of those fans from MMA into pro wrestling, and then when I went back into MMA, I was able to draw all those mainstream fans back into MMA.
Right. So am I wrong here then? I thought, and this has been years since I would have read this, but I thought I read at some point that you were angry with the character they had made you, that you didn't like, that they made you seem a little more crazy or stupid, I guess, than you really were. Was that right, or am I way off?
No, actually, I love the character they made me, and I love the matches and stuff that I had gotten, but there was some angles and stuff that they wanted me to do, and I felt that it was not in my family's best interest. There was one where my sister, who played my sister, her name was Ryan. Shamrock, which is what she played, right? And at the time, I had a 10-year-old kid and a 7-year-old kid and a 5-year-old kid and a 1-year-old baby girl. And they wanted me to, because I was running around beating everybody up for picking on her and this and that. Well, then the real reason they wanted me to have this problem was because I wanted to be with my sister sexually. And, at 10 years old as a kid, and at 7-year-old as a kid, and at 3-year-old as a kid, going to school, all I could see was my kids getting in fights because people were telling them that their dad is weirdo. So I didn't want to do it, and I ran into some problems with that, and, that was really the point where I needed to make a move. And listen, trust me, it's not like that's not entertainment, because it is, and I don't have a problem with that. But during that particular time in my life, I could not do that, and so I had to make a decision.
So, just out of curiosity, then, who are some of the guys? I want to get in a minute the Nasty Boys thing, which obviously was a big deal. But did any of the guys give you a hard time and kind of want to challenge you to see how tough you really were when they came in there? And if so, who were some of the legit tough guys back then?
A lot of the guys, which I got to say, they were all really good. And I had a good time while I was there, and they were all real professional. There was a few times, we had our run-ins, but most of the time it was all pretty professional. And during times when we weren't wrestling, like when they were set up the ring, they were done setting the ring, a couple guys being there working on some stuff. And I remember Bradshaw came up to me one time, and there were some guys outside the ring, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, and some of them were screaming at Bradshaw, "Go ahead, jump on him, Bradshaw, get him. Bradshaw go, "No, man." So I remember laying on the ground, and I said, "Listen, Bradshaw, grab your best hold, man." I said, "I'll let you get whatever you want, but within 30 seconds, I'll tap you out." And so they were all laughing and said, "Get it, man, grab him." So he jumped on me, and he grabbed me in a headlock, and he was squeezing on real tight. And within about 15 seconds, he was tapping out. So, there was those moments where these guys wanted to know, but they knew who I was, and they understood, and they respected me, just as I respected them and what they did. But they all wanted to learn also.
So you got to give Bradshaw a little credit, though, because I've always heard the stories he likes to pick on the new guys, but, it's a little different he's picking on you. So at least he gave it a shot as opposed to picking on some, the Blue Meanie or somebody.
Well, Bradshaw's a good guy, though, you know what I mean? Ever since I was there, he was always a good person, and along with all the other boys, And I rolled around with Blackman a few times, and, I showed him a few things. But a lot of the guys were really, really good people. And if you watch now, as opposed to before the Ken Shamrock days of pro wrestling, before they had one or two rest holds. Now you see hundreds and hundreds of submission holds. I mean, it just opened up the door for people to start doing and creating new things with submission holds.
So now obviously you did it before, and you weren't the first one, and Dan Severn and, tons of other guys have done both. Obviously King Mo right now is making the transition. What do you think about him doing it, and do you think that's going to open the doors now for a lot of other guys to follow him?
Well, like I said, I think that it's a great opportunity for any of these guys to, obviously be in MMA and have some fun and opportunity there. But at the same time, being able to go back into pro wrestling and do that also, to me, I think it's, have fun, man. You live one time, right? I mean, this is the world we live in where there's so much pressure on people trying to tell you what to do, when to do it, and how long you can do it. And, I've always been that person that said, listen, man, you want to try something, or if you got an itch to do something, don't wait, man. Do it. Have fun, man. You live one time, and go for it. Enjoy life, man.
All right. Do you, if you had to take one of the guys under your wing from back then in the WWE, who do you think would have made the best MMA fighter?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I've seen quite a few guys in there who I thought that had the ability that if they had spent some time in training, that they could do well. But I think probably the one that I thought had the best opportunity would be Blackman. I thought Blackman had good wrestling, good boxing, but he just didn't have enough experience or enough training and experience in the submissions. But I thought if he put the time in, he would have.
Hey, I want to turn this over here. I want to ask you for the millionth time. I know you've talked about the Nasty Boys a million times, but there's so many versions of it out there. So I want to get your thoughts on that, and then I'm going to turn it over to Carla because I know she has a couple of questions. But tell us, what really happened, how that all turned out.
Well, I was on the road. I was working for NAPW, North Atlantic Pro Wrestling. It was George Scott, Nelson Royal, and I remember the Nasty Boys had been brought in, and, I had gotten along with them a little bit. They were a little obnoxious, but whatever. It's wrestling, it's characters and different things. So, no big deal. We got involved. We went to this show, and after the show, we went to this place called Fun Crazies, and it was in Carolina. And I remember we were there, and I was with a friend of mine who had his girl with him. He wasn't a wrestler. He helped set up the ring, and, kind of a road guy. And I befriended him, nice guy, and he had his girl with him, and she was, she was put together pretty well. And I remember we were sitting there, and they were pretty drunk. Knobs, the blonde one, big tall one, was standing up next to her, and I remember he kept reaching over and grabbing her tit. And I remember my friend was, he wasn't a big guy, and his girlfriend kept slapping his hand away. And, he did this probably 2 or 3 times, and finally my friend had said something to him, "Come on, brother, please, man." And he looked at him, and he kind of pie-faced him and said, "Oh, shut up, dude." And so I was sitting next to him. This is my friend. And so I jumped up, and I told the dude, I said, "You know what, man?" I said, "That's it. Enough, dude. That is it. Next time you touch him, break your hand." And he looked at, "Oh, you're a tough guy, huh?" And I said, "You know what? I'll be who I have to be." And I remember the other one came around. Sags came around. "So what's happening, Goofy? What's going on?" So they started trying to get in my face, and that's when I lost it. So I threw my drink at him, and I went after him. Well, as soon as that happened, the bouncer came up behind me, and he grabbed me because they see what was going on. He brought me into the bathroom, picked me up off my feet, and brought me in the bathroom. He's a pretty big guy. He brought me in the bathroom, and he said, "Ken, man, calm down, brother. They're out of here. We kicked them out. When you come out of here, just be cool." And so he let me out of the bathroom, and I came out, and they were gone. Well, I was pretty pissed off at this time. So we were all staying in the same hotel. So I went to the hotel. I knew what room they were staying in. I remember banging on the door, and they wouldn't open the door. So I remember I kicked the door in. And after I kicked the door and I came in, and the first thing I saw was I seen Sags laying on the bed, passed out. And that's the last thing I remember. Well, from what I heard from the doctor's report was that, because the police report, that the tall one had hit me in the back of the head with the steel phone. It's one of these hotels where they had a steel plate on the back of the phone, and when I came through the door, he smashed me in the back of the head. Well, as soon as I hit him in the back of the head, I went down on the ground, and they started putting the boots to me. Both of them. What's his name wasn't even passed out. It was kind of a setup. So they jumped up, put the boots to me, broke my sternum, broke my eye socket, put me in a concussion, and almost killed me. I mean, I died in the ambulance going to the hospital. And so I was recovered. It took me a year to recover, and then I recovered, got back to business, and I remember the whole time I was pissed. And these guys had just left the territory and went into the WWF. And I kept saying to myself, if I ever see them guys, I'm going to kill them. And I had this thing driving with me for so long. About 4 years later, I run across Knobs, right? And I'm in the WWF at this time. And I'm with Road Dogg, and I'm with Billy Gunn, and I'm getting ready to check in at the ticket gate, and there he is, standing there. And all of a sudden, it was like blowing the lid off my head, just blew up, right? And my face was red, and I remember Billy going, "What's wrong with you, man?" And I remember walking right up to this guy, and I was going to smash him, right? I remember Billy standing in front of him, "Don't do it again." And I'm looking at Knobs, and I'm going, "Man, I'm going to kill you, dude. I'm going to kill you." And he goes, "Man, dude, it's been a long time, man. Relax, man." And I said, "Man, I'm going to kill you." And I remember Billy had to grab me and pull me away from him. As he's pulling me away, right, he takes off. I mean, literally takes off running. And So Billy finally gets me calmed down. We get checked in, and we start going up towards our gate. And we get to our gate, and I hear this voice, right? And there's two of them there. It's Knobs and Sags. And I hear this guy go, man, what's wrong with Shamrock? There's probably about 20 boys sitting there, right? What's wrong with Shamrock, man? Somebody's got a chill pill, man. He walk around thinking he's all badass or something, man. He better watch himself. He doesn't see me, right? As soon as I hear it, Billy goes, oh, shit. I fly out after this guy. I jump over the chair. I grab him. I spin him around. And I look at him. I said, I'm standing right here, little bitch. What do you want to do now? I said, I'm going to freaking kill you. And I remember him standing there looking at me, right? And I'm getting ready to tear into him. I mean, I am literally getting ready to tear this man apart, right? This is the thing that happened right here. And I could not believe my ears after all the shit he talked, after all the stuff he said, and standing in front of 20 of the boys. He turned. He had a bag in his hand. He turned like he was going to try and hit me, right? He drops his bag. He turns his back to me and he says, if you hit me, it's a federal offense. I went, are you freaking kidding me? After all this time, after all this thing, after you talking about being such a badass and whipping my ass, you were punking out like this in front of everybody? I was like, oh, my God. It couldn't have been more better that it happened that way. Because I could have beat his ass, I'd have went to jail or whatever. But for him to do that in front of all of the boys sitting right there at the gate, pussing out like he did, couldn't have been more better than anything that I could have ever done to him. I just lost all the anger I had at him. I looked at him and I said, how friggin' pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You know, you could have beat his ass, you know, but the pain goes away, but making him look like a chump in front of everybody, you know, it probably worked out the best for you.
Well, what it did was it completely confused me, right? Because I'm sitting here thinking I'm going to rip this guy apart. And he turns to me. Here's this guy who's 6'5", 6'6", 270 pounds. And he turns his back to me and says, you hit me, it's a federal offense. I was like, what? What? How do I respond to that?
All right, you just got a few minutes here left. Just, you know, a little bit as far as the later stuff. You came back. You know, as far as taking the time off from your MMA career to do the wrestling, do you kind of now look back and you wish you had been able to keep doing the MMA because that way you could have had the bigger fights and maybe done more with your record?
No, I didn't get that question. What was that?
Well, I was going to say, do you kind of regret, you know, I mean, obviously you didn't have a choice. You know, you went to WWF for, you know, for financial reasons and you didn't have the opportunity to keep doing the MMA. But do you kind of regret in a way that you lost a few of those prime years to fighting?
No. Like I said earlier when we were talking, is that you live one time. And I really believe you got to do things that, you know, is fun, going to make you happy. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you know, that you're successful and don't do something stupid and ruin your career. But, you know, I thought I did very well in my career. I captured a lot of different titles, a lot of different places. I was always main event. From the time I stepped into the ring, I was always main event, always semi-main event, and nothing less. I was always on top for 13 years, whether it was, you know, anywhere. And so I got an opportunity to go to pro wrestling and do something there and have some fun there because, you know, obviously I wouldn't make the money I needed to in MMA, and I did that. And I did it because I thought it would be something that would be fun and entertaining for me. And it was. And I look back on it now, and I thought it was a great move because not only did it was fun for me, and I thought it was a good move for me because I went public, was that it also helped MMA because when I turned around and went back into MMA, I brought thousands and thousands and thousands of fans with me into MMA that didn't know MMA at that time.
All right. Do you think that you don't get the respect that you deserve as a legend of the sport, that people always try to focus on the negative and, you know, as opposed to the positive and the things that you did do?
No, no, not at all. Listen, this has been going on ever since there's been sports, or ever since there's been politics, or ever since there's been people in power. It is what it is, and it's never going to change. You can't please everybody. And I understand that, man. And I did something great in the sport, something that no one would ever be broken. I was the first. I was the first in Japan. I was the first here in the U.S. I was the first one to cross over. I did a lot of things first. And to me, I'm not sure about who I want, you know, to show me any of that respect. You know, I know what I did. I know what the record books show. I know the accomplishments that I've done. I'm not asking for anybody to give me anything. You know, I think I've earned whatever I've gotten. And if I don't, hey, listen, everybody else writes the history books. Everybody else is going to give you props. And there's going to be a million different ways it's going to come out. Hey, whatever. I know this. This is one thing I will take to my grave. I accomplished what I needed to accomplish when I was there. I became the champion in everything that I did, and I had fun doing it. And I respected my sport. I respected my fans. And you can't ask for more than that. And however they want to write those books is completely out of my control.
All right, let's just finish on this, because you've been great. And, you know, obviously we could talk to you for 3 days. You have so much to tell. But just finishing up with this, you know, what are your plans going forward? I mean, is there any – are you completely 100% done fighting? Any chance you went back to wrestling? You know, because obviously you still got Ric Flair, you know, still trying to wrestle in his 60s. You know, what's next for you? Or are you just ready to move on to something else completely different?
You know, I mean, like I said, I God bless Ric Flair, you know what I mean? As long as everybody's still having fun and the fans still want to see him and he's capable of doing it. You live one time, and I say go for it. But for me, it's this. I love promoting fights. I have some options and some opportunities to be able to change MMA a little bit, be able to make it a little bit more exciting, a little bit faster by putting in some of the rules that I have developed to improve the sport and improve the intensity and the quickness of the fights. I also have a way of trying to bring back the original days of MMA where you've got different types of fighters fighting each other, and they're not all the same. And it's coming from different sports, football, rugby, basketball, hockey, having these guys all come in and do a reality show and see which one of these guys can adapt to MMA the best. But it goes back to the same kind of concept in the beginning days where you have different guys come from different disciplines. Now you got guys coming from different sports to see which one can develop the best. Then do a pay-per-view and see which one of these guys can actually become an MMA fighter. So there's a lot of other ideas I have. There's another one out now that we've actually discussed a little bit about, you know, fighting for families that have kids that have terminal cancer, families that have kids that come back from war who have been damaged, and having the fighters spend time with these families, and then when they spend time with these families, they go in there and they fight for these families, and then after the fight's over, the company itself donates half the proceeds to these families to help cover these bills. So there's all these things that I have got. I helped develop MMA where it's at today. That fighter reality show is my concept. The way that I showed Dana White to shoot these fights because they were dying, they were going under, I showed Dana White how to make it more exciting, how for these guys to shoot these fights so people get more interested in it. Don't think that I can't do it again with some other ideas with other companies. Man, they made a mistake by not keeping me in the loop because I will develop other things that will be exciting. And UFC, you know, they couldn't have done those things without myself and other fighters, and they chose to push you know, guys like myself aside when we were the ones that came up with all the ideas to make the event the way it is.
Yeah, that's the one thing I kind of, you know, like I had mentioned earlier, I kind of missed, you know, the old days because it was so cool, you know, especially back then because you didn't have the internet and that kind of thing. But when it first started, it's like, okay, how's ninjutsu going to do against taekwondo, against judo, against something like that? So, you know, yeah, I think there's definitely a market for people being interested in seeing that kind of stuff, whereas opposed to, you know, now everybody's, you know, at least trained in something. And then, so basically, you're saying we're looking at Ken Shamrock, the promoter, in the future. That's what's lying ahead for you. Then sounds like
Shamrock, the promoter. Ken Shamrock's going to bring back MMA and the excitement of MMA. We're going to bring it back, man. The fans are going to see some new rule changes. They're going to see the fights being faster. Hey, just wait and see, man. Don't think that I did it once, I can't do it again.
I would never put it past you. So last question before we let you go, just, you know. Any chance? I mean, it does seem like the UFC kind of has turned their back on the, you know, on the old timers and the real legends of the sport like yourself and some others. Any chance that, you know, you guys can ever patch things up and at least have some kind of you know, friendly relationship?
Listen, if people know me, they know who I am, and just like with Tito Ortiz or anybody else I ever fought, I don't hold grudges. I do things because it's part of who I am, and it's business, and you know, it is what I do. But when it's over, it's over. I have no grudges. I don't understand how a company where they had so many people develop their company and help get to where they're at, that they can't drop things and be able to shake hands and say, listen, we need to use these guys Because these are the guys that are the face of this company. These are guys that actually put money in our pockets and gave us $1 million cars and a couple $1 million homes. Let's give a little bit back to these guys. Let's not be hogs. Let's not be pigs. Let's turn around and help these guys who are out there trying to make new business and do other things because they can't get involved with what they've built.
Right. No, I hear you. Like I just, I'm like I said, I'm a huge fan of all the lessons, the ones that got there. That's why, I've brought on the show, even people that weren't successful as you, like Fred Edish and Art Jimerson and those kind of folks. So I definitely appreciate, the guys that started it and paved the way for the rest of us. Like I said, back in my high school days, I was renting the VCR tapes and watching all you guys. So, there's definitely lots of us out there that really appreciate and we'll never forget the things like, that you and Oleg Tatarov and the other guys have done. So we really appreciate that. And like I said, I could sit here and talk to you for 3 days, obviously, but we really appreciate having you on. Anything else you'd like to let the folks know about, where they can follow you, and then what else you got going on?
Yeah, our website's up at KenShamrock.com. And actually, we just rebuilt it. We'll have some more clothing stuff. We've got pictures going up. We've got a new series out called Tough Guys, which will be guys like myself and Dan Severn on a poster, even myself and other people that are not involved in MMA. But it'll be called what we call Tough Guys, and it'll be a series every couple months. We'll have new ones out, and also too with these new promotions we got going. Keep your eyes open because I am in the process of stepping it up and trying to figure out ways, which I've already done, to make MMA more exciting and figure out how MMA can get more involved with charity and how we can get back to people who are in need. So there's a lot of different angles I'm coming from and a lot of different places I'm coming from to push MMA forward so it's not the same old stuff again.
Yeah, I hear you, and we definitely would look forward to that. I'd love to have you back on any time, especially when that stuff's coming up and you want to plug that. And we could, like I said, I could talk to you anytime. So we'd love to have you back, and we'll be looking forward to all that stuff, and we really appreciate your time tonight.
Well, listen, I just want to also, say to my fans, thanks for the support over the years. And I know a lot of times people get upset because I say things and this and that, but I just want people to know everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a right to an opinion, and it don't make them right or wrong. I don't say I'm right. It's an opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just the way I think, but it's my opinion. If you agree with it, great. If you don't, that's okay too. But in the end, it's all about having a good time, and it's all about trying to get to the same place, and that's to be successful, and that's for everybody to have a good time.
Well, it is refreshing to hear people with their own thoughts. Too many times today, that's one thing that John Jones gets ripped about, a lot because he tries to, be really unopinionated, doesn't want to give his thoughts and anything. Kind of like Derek Jeter in baseball, same thing, Nobody dislikes him because he never says anything that makes anybody mad. So, there's certainly a place for people like that, but also there's always room for people like you that are going to tell them how it is. And not everyone, like you said, not everyone has to agree with you, but it's great to know, your real opinion instead of, what you think we want to hear from you.
Yeah, and again, like I said, that's what makes it entertainment. It's for people to be able to speak their mind and then not get their heads chopped off for it.
Right. All right, Frank. Frank, I did it again. I'm sorry. I was going to say we missed Frank. We've had all kinds of technical difficulties tonight. Frank and Carla both ended up getting dropped, and they couldn't get back in here, so we apologize that they weren't able to jump in there. Follow Carla at The Real Carla J and Frank at ATG Radio. And Ken, we really appreciate it again. Like I said, love to get you back on. We will look for all the stuff you got. Sounds like you got a lot going, so we'll be keeping our eye out for that. And anything we can do to help you promote in the future, let us know.
All right, listen, I appreciate you guys. And like I said, hopefully in the future we'll see UFC and some of the people involved there drop their guards and start embracing the people that got them where they're at today.
Yeah, like I couldn't agree with that more. Yeah, definitely think, obviously the sport's completely different now than it was back in the day, but there's always, always room to remember the guys that pioneered the sport, and you certainly were, one of, if not the biggest name of them all. So, yeah, hopefully they do.
All right. God bless.
All right, Ken, thanks so much, buddy. Appreciate it, and you have a great evening, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay.
All right. So that was Ken Shamrock, guys. Thanks so much to him. Incredible interview. Like I said, I could talk to him for 4 hours. Appreciate his 45 minutes. And also thanks to the CFCC guys. Started off the show. Look forward to their fights this weekend. And then, of course, in the middle we had 7 girls from the Invicta Fighting Championships. Thanks so much to them. Nicdali Rivera-Calanoc, Julia Budd, Jessica Penne, Tecia Torres, Shayna Baszler, Stephanie Frausto, Julie Budd, all those guys. Thanks so much for them coming on and definitely support women's MMA. They were great to have on. So appreciate it. That's our show for this week, and we will talk to you again next week.